Woodward Sports Network presents a sports show that's more than just sports. Welcome to The Bottom Line with U of M great and former NFL star Braylon Edwards and Ryan Ermani. Sit back and let's talk some Detroit sports right now on The Bottom Line.
And here we go. Braylon Edwards here on Ermani and Edwards. Ermani's not here, but filling in for him is someone you all know. Tuesday was standards turned into a full day with my dad. Dad, how you doing over there?
It's good. Hey, I'm wearing a t-shirt mask. It is 55 degrees outside.
You look good,
it feels
man.
like a heat wave today, buddy.
It looked like you just came from the gym.
Oh, well, I don't know about that, but it is a lot warmer than it has been, and I'm glad to be here on a day other than not Tuesday.
I walked out the house without a jacket on today. This is all I had. This is all I needed today, to my dad's point. Dad, we talked a little bit. We'll get into a lot. There's a lot of Twitter fingers, as Drake likes to point out. We got Juice Landry. He said some pretty interesting things about Cleveland. Aaron Rodgers on the Pat McAfee show. Actually, right now, he said some things last night. He had a couple of those bourbons, and he got into some emotions about Green Bay. We'll get into that, and also we'll get into Juwan Howard. Sentence came down on what he's going to have to do, what he's going to have to go through for the next 2 weeks. But, Dad, you watched the All-Star game. And more importantly, Saturday night, I was at the house. We did cake and ice cream, and we literally had this talk all night. What was your take on the players into and just the whole that was Saturday Night All-Star?
So, Uncle Mass, you should have been there. I should have invited you.
I wish I was.
Had a great menu. We had some smoked baked beans with smoked pulled chicken in it, with Worcestershire sauce. And it was out of sight. Should have been there. Because we were going to have an NBA All-Star game, three-point shoot, and slam dunk watch party, which we did have. And so we were looking forward to that all week. We couldn't wait. And the slam dunk contest, years back it kind of, wasn't as good, but past few years it kind of picked up a bit. So we were ready to go. I have never been more disappointed in my entire life. Yeah. That was the worst showing I ever did. I almost thought these guys were point shaving against Vegas because some of the things they were doing or not doing, it was so bad, it looked deliberate.
I'm telling you, man, that thing has jumped the shark. They have to reinvent the dunk contest and do it quickly with young kids like John Morant going forward.
Yeah, Dad, you and I talked about it. It's almost as if the guys that were in the contest from Cole to Obi Toppin to Jalen Green, those guys just didn't look like they were representing what they were representing. They didn't know the past lineage of Dominique versus Jordan, of Dominique versus Spud, of Vince Carter versus Steve Francis, or even more recent, Zach LaVine versus Aaron Gordon. It didn't like they knew what they were a part of.
It almost seems like if you didn't know those guys, you wouldn't think they were part of the NBA.
Oh,
you
100%.
think they may have just kind of got shoved in from the G League and said, hey, why don't you show up here? We'll have a slam dunk contest. We'll give you some free gear and a box lunch. You down for it? And that's what it looked like because that's how they performed because they were not really
We should have had the Fab Five doing some jams on that one. I would have watched that.
That nostalgia would have been a lot better. But you bring up a good point. You talk about the G League, and actually that makes sense. If you look at some of the skills challenge deals, they brought in some players from the G League to compete against the Giannis Antetokounmpo, well, I guess it's the Antetokounmpo brothers. They brought in some G Leaguers, man, and that goes back to my point. If you see what they do in the NHL, they have purses, they have real-life money, real-life cash that you can win. I think that's what Adam Silver has to get to the bottom line of, man. You no pun intended. You got to put a big briefcase out there at half court. You got to put $2 million under a glass, and you got to say, hey, look, win of this, go home with that.
Yeah, so Adam Silver's doing a great job of promoting the NBA. Nobody's better than the NFL.
No.
The NFL is the greatest show on earth. But the NBA is not far behind. They do a great job. That NBA All-Star Weekend, they had to tweak some things because there were a couple of years where the game itself looked like the Harlem Globetrotters versus the Washington Generals.
Yeah.
It was just kind of – they still don't play a lot of defense, but the way the game is played now itself, it is so exciting because you are still seeing skills competition within the NBA All-Star game with some of the other stuff that they have.
The NFL is last in one thing. They're first in everything.
Right.
But they're last on their All-Star game.
I knew he was going to say that.
Yeah.
They're dead last in the All-Star game. And I think the NFL's – so let's ask a question here.
Yep.
What is worse, this past Sunday's or Saturday's NBA All-Star game slam dunk or the NFL Pro Bowl?
Pro Bowl.
I don't know about that.
Oh, yeah. Trust me. It was the Pro Bowl.
I don't know about that. So I think the NFL is going to revisit how they do the Pro Bowl again, too. But unless you have guaranteed contracts, I don't think the violence of the game is going to pick up because guys don't want to get hurt going into the offseason.
I think the Pro Bowl as a whole was worse, and the reason why I say that is because it looked like two-hand touch. Nobody was talking about it. Nobody was watching it. Their skills challenge was actually on Thursday night.
That was good.
Like, their skills challenge was actually on Thursday night, so it seems so far to bring from Thursday to Friday or Thursday to Saturday. Like, it just seemed like a long period as a snapshot.
They're trying to make it a weekend in Vegas.
And they both were bad.
Yeah.
And they both were bad. So I think the NBA was a bigger letdown. So if you want to go that route, I'll give you that, because the NBA should have been better. The NBA knows better. People watched that Saturday before the All-Star game for the dunk contest, and that dunk contest mixed in with the skills challenges around it was pretty bad. Talking about, you say something?
Well, I was going to say, and you kind of mentioned it, so the NBA has got to figure out if it's a financial incentive for more well-known and much better dunkers to participate in the slam dunk contest. I think that'll make it interesting. But some of the guys that we want to see in a slam dunk contest, they are already making a ton of cash.
Yeah.
So how much money are they willing to give up to entice a guy that's already making $20, $25 million a year or more? I don't know. So it may be some other things that tie to that. They have to give some kind of incentive, because if the right guys get into slam dunk contests, it'll be off the chains like it was years ago.
Either that or just go back. How about this? The young guys, they don't want to do it. They're making so much money. Okay, I get it. How about doing some old veterans that don't play anymore? Let's bring Marcus Johnson back. Remember, Marcus Johnson did a dunk in his backyard at 66 years old. He did it for his mom. I wouldn't mind seeing it. Maybe Dr. J could still jam one. I'd rather see those guys give it a try than watch what I watched on Saturday night.
The undercurrent of the slam dunk or any activity like that is, how are you going to convince the superstars who are starting to age, some of them, not all, to get involved in a very physical activity like that? And they have a brand. They don't want to look bad.
No.
Do you guys remember when Michael Jordan took over the slam dunk contest?
Of course.
Yeah.
A year or two after that, guess what contest Michael Jordan got in and got knocked out the first round?
Three-point contest.
The three-point contest. And he was like, okay,
I
this
don't
is not for
remember
me.
that.
Oh, absolutely. He didn't get very far in it. But he was not a guy that was afraid to fail.
Sure.
I think these guys have so many platforms and so many things that they're trying to sell, they'll be kind of scared to fail at something and let the world see
Well,
it.
who jumped in the three-pointer this year for the first time?
Carl Anthony Towns.
But there was someone else that tried it, and he was the dunk champion, I thought.
Oh,
Adam Levine.
Zach Levine.
Zach
Levine,
Zach Levine and Adam Levine for the voice.
Same thing. Same person.
Yeah.
So Zach Levine tried it. He didn't do very well. I wonder if a guy, because he wanted to be the first guy to win all three different, the skills, the dunk,
as well
and
as
that would be cool if you could do a triple header like that.
Yeah, and it's not too late for him. One thing about the three-point contest is guys that aren't necessarily three-point contest shooters, but that can shoot the three ball. When they get in there, they learn that it's much different than putting up threes in the game. It's finding rhythm. It's finding cadence. Finding a way to maximize your lift without going too high so you get tired. You see those guys that do it for the first time, man, they get to the end of that middle rack, and it's like them legs get heavy because they're jumping like they're shooting in the game, man. You can't shoot that high.
Well, and it's not just jumping. It's being able to get the ball off quick, too, because that clock is running, and you got to figure out how to grab that thing and shoot it. Some guys, like, they get it. They got to get the right feel on it. The laces got to be a certain way, and then do it. Guys like Steph, grabbing and shooting, don't look twice at it. So it's not only getting tired because you are a true jump shooter, it's also getting and letting it go quick.
I think Juwan Howard probably could still dunk it.
We'll get to him in a second.
Right.
You brought him up. Let's talk about him. 16 threes, 50 points, your MVP. Braun and Akron. So technically it's like a hometown game for Steph Curry. We think about the All-Star game, and obviously LeBron knocking down a jumper to reach 163 first and win the game for the East.
I'll talk about Steph in a second. It's amazing how they've made the All-Star game an interesting and attractive game again, and not playing a whole lot deep. Because, and this goes back to Steph Curry, because he has made the three ball so exciting, and there's still some amazing dunks going on in there again. It is absolutely outstanding to watch how he has manifested the game. So let me digress for a second. This is a question for everybody. I'd like to see some folks chime in online as well. If Steph Curry's career ended today, who had a better career, Steph Curry or Detroit Pistons' Isaiah Thomas?
That's good. That's a tie so far.
You think it's a tie?
Yeah.
Nah.
I give Steph Curry an edge because how he has transformed the game.
Well, you know I love him.
Oh, sure.
But Isaiah,
we all
man,
feel like
Isaiah he's one of the greatest point guards who ever lived.
Absolutely.
And a leader.
Absolutely.
A leader, man. Playing on one leg, I'll never forget that.
Yeah.
Never forget that. I mean, that's a hard comp right there.
Well, Steph Curry has globally changed the way basketball is
That's
taught.
my guy.
And that's kind of why I lean towards Steph Curry on that one. What about you?
You have to go with Steph Curry. I mean, you look at what he's done for the game of basketball. You talk about the most influential player in basketball history since Michael Jordan. Just look at the All-Star game. The All-Star game is now fun to watch threes. Guys shooting from half court. Guys shooting from the logo. Guys pulling up. Now, in the Mountain Dew in the three-point contest, they have a Mountain Dew spot that is for Dame Lillard. Dame Lillard, the deep ball, that pulling up from the logo. It's fun to watch. Everybody knows that they can take that back. People believe that they can join the NBA and be like Steph Curry. Or Steph Curry. They believe that they're the average kid that can wake up in the morning and say, you know what? I can be Steph Curry. I can do this. I can get to the NBA. You know, LeBron, it's a different snapshot. A guy's 6'8", 260. Not everybody can do that. Steph is influential because he looks like the average guy.
If Steph came into the league with a game like he has now, 25 years ago, going 2 or 3 steps after midcourt, shooting a shot and then turning and running in front of it. Guess what team everybody would have tried to put him on? The Harlem Globetrotters. Exactly. Nobody would have tried to expect anybody to be able to play consistently like that in a real basketball game, and he's phenomenal.
Because not even just that. Whatever school you're at, the college coach is not going for that.
No,
One of those shots, come on, sit right here next to me. So he wouldn't have gotten a chance to do that at a consistent clip. When we get back, speaking of the consistent clip, we've talked about, I got the school colors on. Juwan Howard sentencing came down last night. We'll talk about that in a second. And also, we'll talk about Tom Izzo, who had some words about the Juwan Howard situation. I'm Braylon Edwards, filling in for Ryan Armani as my dad, Stan Edwards. We got Tom on the couch, and this is The Bottom Line on Woodward Sports Network.
Hi, my diamonds. It's Crystal with an X. You want to get hot and perfect like me? Here's my super easy routine. Drink at least a gallon of water before you wake up. Attach a weight to everything in your house. Hello? Sell your car and just sprint everywhere. Scream when you exhale.
Don't follow Crystal with an X. Do your own thing at Planet Fitness with tons of equipment and free fitness training in our clean and spacious clubs. Join now for just $10 a month and cancel anytime.
Detroit Sports on Demand.
DeAndre Swift, he's going to take it all the way for the touchdown. Open in the corner, he triple.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app today. Take us with you everywhere you go. Search Woodward Sports Network or WSN Live.
Guys, let's be honest. We like simple stuff.
Yes,
like
we
football
do.
5 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's haircuts for men. Walk in, sign in, sit down, and before you know it, you are handsome and clean. Ooh-wee!
Ooh-wee!
Get to Lady Jane's, open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. It's wicked awesome.
Wicked awesome. Coming back, Juwan Howard last night fined $40,000 and set to miss the remaining games.
That's a record, by the way. Big Ten record.
It is.
40 grand.
40 grand is the Big Ten record for a basketball coach fine, as well as he would miss the remaining 5 games of the college season. He will be allowed to coach in the Big Ten tournament, and if they make it, which is a very strong if they make it to the big dance, Juwan Howard will be allowed to coach in the NCAA tournament. So, let's jump right into it, Dad. You weren't here yesterday, and we talked about it. For me, the way the situation laid out, you can't throw a punch. Like you can't throw a punch. Like, one, you gotta know where you are. 2, you gotta know you can't do that. Not in 2022. Can't throw punches. That's one thing. When we saw it, we said, "Dang!" Like that. I wish the punch wouldn't have happened. I understand. You can't. As Coach Gard put his hands on Juwan. Juwan was trying to beeline past him. He touched him. He repeatedly said, "Get your hands off me. Don't touch me." You can't touch an individual that don't want to be touched as a grown man. You can't do that. And then you see him kind of disengage. And then you see him reappear and throw a punch. But what people haven't been talking about is the fact that the assistant coach, I believe his name was Joe Habenhoff, put his hands on the initial player to the left with 20, and then the other player with the curly hair, light-skinned guy. I should have the numbers. That's on me. He put his hands on 2 players. Juwan saw that. He had fired off, and then here we are with the melee. What do you think about the situation? Are you okay with the fighting? And what do you think about everybody's role in the situation on Sunday?
The fine, after I saw what happened a little bit more when more information came out, I thought Juwan should only got 2 games. That's me. He got 5, which took it was conveniently to the end of the regular season.
Right.
I'm absolutely okay with that. I would have thought, based on the later information I got, that the assistant coach was involved, that had it gone into the tournament postseason, I think that would have been a bit much.
Right.
But I think on reflection, and Juwan said this, if he had to do it over again, he would have handled it a little differently. He would have thought twice about, what? Maybe I probably shouldn't have put my hand or took a swipe at the coach.
Yeah.
And so he apologized for that. And that's the only person he should apologize to, because he didn't apologize to Greg Gard, and he should not have. Greg Gard is not owed anything, and I'm not surprised he didn't get more of a fine or a fine and a suspended as well. He had no business stopping Juwan. You can't bump the referee. There's a reason why you can't have contact. Somebody is not feeling good about you, and then you grab them anyway. That just sets everything off. So I'm not surprised at what Juwan got. I am a little surprised that Wisconsin didn't give, or the Big Ten didn't give Gard more than what he got.
Yeah, if you're following right now, Coach Greg Gard from Wisconsin was fined $10,000. He is set to miss no games. Wisconsin's Greg Gard will not be suspended and will be fined $10,000. Sources told at Stadium, no suspension or fine expected for assistant coach Joe Krabenhoff. 3 players will be suspended for 1 game: Musa Diabate, Terrence Williams of Michigan, and Jacoby Neath of Wisconsin. Maz, coming to you. The thing that I wanted to see change, I'm happy he got the 5 games. I'm happy there was nothing more because, it was touch and go for a second. A lot of people were worried that in this day and age, this climate, Juwan could have lost his job, especially when you start compiling on what happened last year in the Big Ten tournament with Maryland's Coach Turgeon. So I'm happy, got the 5 games. I'm happy. It was nothing more than that. The thing that I want to see change is the narrative of what happened that day. What I want to see change is the narrative. And what I mean by that is Juwan Howard, Coach Gard put his hands in his chest, Dad. He told him not to do so. Then he said, "See, I could do it too." Then he let go. Said again, "Don't put don't touch me. Don't put your hands on me." And he just walked off. As he's walking off as a coach, as he's walking off as a coach, his job is to protect his team, protect his players, protect the U of M image. Now, throwing a punch, he didn't protect the U of M image, but he was protecting his players. When he saw Coach Krabenhoff come up there, push 2 of his players out the way, I don't care how soft it was, how hard it was. It's funny, people choose when they want to say these guys are kids and when they're adults. I made a comment on social media some years back, and the comment, all the people that tweeted back were like, "Oh, these guys are kids, don't come after kids." But when people talked about Coach Krabenhoff putting his hands on these players, everybody's like, "Man, they get bumped hard now on the basketball court. That was nothing." I don't care that it was nothing. Your job as a Wisconsin assistant coach is not to touch my players, the University of Michigan basketball team. I want people to understand that Juwan Howard was trying to protect his players. Shouldn't have threw the punch, but ultimately his mind was in the right.
Well, interesting. Just listen to some of the feedback all around the country, and even some of the local talking heads. It's amazing to me that some of these guys even really have a job, and some of the stupid stuff that they say. You can't pick and choose, like you said, when just grabbing someone's arm and trying to stop someone to have a conversation is okay, and when someone else wants to interject with someone, it's a little bit different. See, Juwan is held to a different standard.
Oh, 100%.
Juwan Howard is probably not liked by most of the coaches in the Big Ten, and I wouldn't be surprised by that. You know why? Because he's a Fab Five.
Oh,
he's a pro. He's an NBA.
He's immortal.
Champion. He is an iconic college figure. Yeah. He helped change the game, and a lot of people don't like that. They're jealous of that and all the other stuff that goes along with that. And so because it's Juwan Howard, he's got to be more careful to really think about when I sneeze, everybody's going to respond around the world, and it can't happen that again. And I don't quite know what happened with him and Turgeon. Right. I know what I heard about that at Maryland, but Juwan, people are starting to pile on now. Now he's got 2 strikes. I don't know that he has 2 strikes. Right. I don't know. But all I know is Juwan Howard has to be careful because he is a Fab Five.
He's a marked man. There's no doubt about it. He has a temper, and it shows. He doesn't want to lose. He's had a bad year this year. Last year they were fighting to win the championship, the national championship. They destroyed Merrill in that game, if I'm not mistaken. And I know him and Mark Turgeon didn't have a good history. But Juwan and Greg Gard had a good history. You could see them guys. They hugged it out plenty of times. Last year, both wearing masks and the COVID, no fans. I remember them hugging up, taking the mask down, and they hugged it out. And they grabbed each other by the arms. But it was good. This time it wasn't a good thing. But Greg Gard, I don't think he was trying to go after Juwan. I think he was trying to explain himself on Sunday, and Juwan didn't want anything to do with it. The problem was the assistants and everybody got involved, and that's when it went off. I will tell you this. Wisconsin, they didn't get the suspension, but he got the $10,000 fine. Alex, put up the athletic director from Wisconsin's. And Braylon, you read this for me if you can.
We have received and read a ruling in the Big Ten, and it's handled down in regard to this incident that occurred at the Kohl Center on Sunday. Needless to say, there is no place in college athletics for what happened at the end of Sunday's game. Neither Coach Gard or his staff had any intention to provoke or incite any what took place. Sorry, it's very small. Anything took place. Basically, what they're basically saying, Chris McIntosh, I can kind of.
Well, he basically said this fine is not going to go to Gard.
He said
we're paying the fine.
Exactly.
So, in other words, they say they didn't do anything wrong. He took that road. Now, Ward Manuel, he hasn't said anything as far as that goes yet. But I don't think Ward Manuel would come out and say, my coach was without sin.
You had an interesting take there, Mass, because I wasn't aware of the history between Gard and Juwan, and you're saying they're friends. So what happened is that it's just like brothers. Sometimes brothers fight.
Yes.
What Gard didn't do was didn't recognize how he had pissed his little brother off. What Juwan didn't do is he didn't let his big brother know, hey, bro, I don't like that. You need to stop. It all clashed as a huge misunderstanding.
Correct.
Whose fault? Don't know. I'm not going to blame Gard for that. All I know is he probably should not have ever put his hands on him, just trying to say, hey, dude, let me explain to you actually what's going on, because he was mad. Now, maybe he didn't look down the bench to find out that he was mad. So a lot of people missed a lot of stuff.
Well, he was waiting for him because first thing, head coaches will lead the line.
His feet started to slow down. As he was getting closer to Juwan, he was shaking the player's hands.
Yeah, he was waiting for him.
And he was started to slow down to see when Juwan was coming.
Correct.
But Juwan probably had no idea he was that, and Juwan may have took it as, I don't know what's going on between you and I. I thought we were good, but today you tried to show me up, and I didn't like that.
I'll tell you, both coaches coached to the end, and I don't have a problem with that. If Juwan wants to press the reserves and try to steal the ball, you're down 14 with 30 seconds left, you're not going to win the game. But if he wants to coach and teach his players, look, you guys sucked in the second half. Right. We're going to work our ass off here in the last 30 seconds. But I have no problem with Gard calling a timeout and telling his bench warmers, hey, this is what I need you to do.
Everybody, both coaches, in my opinion, had a right to do exactly what they do. Is coach their team.
Yeah.
Some of the stupid idiots around here saying how foolish he was. Why are you pressing that late? Because he's coaching.
He's coaching.
That's what he's getting paid to do.
He's teaching. You guys sucked in the second half. Now go out and try to get this damn game to within 8.
Which is the same reason why Gard called a timeout.
Exactly.
He's coaching.
Yes.
That's what coaches do.
Yep.
But here's one of the issues I got with people, and they're worried about Juwan's attitude and his temper. Bobby Knight will probably be in the College Basketball Hall of Fame.
He already is.
Juwan's attitude and temper is nowhere match his. So let's be careful about saying he needs to mature, needs to grow up. His temper's got to be handled, because we let one guy do it 4 years.
But that was back in the day. That was back in the day. I know.
Okay.
Yeah, well,
that ain't happening anymore, Stan. That ain't happening anymore.
Agreed.
We got a guy coming on next that I know all too well, and I guess he knows Juwan Howard a little bit better than most people out there. That's my big brother, Jimmy King, will be joining us after this commercial break. It's going to be fun. Going back to it, both guys were petty in that situation. Like Juwan, you see the end of a year which his team didn't play well, he didn't coach well, team doesn't have a good record. That came out. All that at the end of the day, there were a bunch of wrongs and there were no rights. So I'm Armani and Edwards. Armani's not in, but Big Stan's filling in for him. My dad, Maz on the couch, getting ready. Jimmy King joined us as soon as we get back in 30 seconds. Big bottom line.
Everything that we've hoped for, finally.
He's going deep, right side. Oh, that is Edwards out there. He goes up in the air at the goal line.
Hey, it's Braylon Edwards here, wanting to welcome the sports marketing agency to Woodward Sports Network, to the family. Glad to have you guys. For the last decade, the sports marketing agency has literally leveraged athletes around issues such as mental health and substance abuse.
It's all happening now.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
It's that time. Gypsy Vodka. Michigan's own gluten-free vodka. This stuff is amazing. Adam and Mike, you did it with this one. Like I always say, Jay-Z told Rick Rubin, stuff is amazing. That's because it's corn distilled 6-time using artesian spring water. And we haven't talked about this in a while, but the bottle, oh man, the artistry and the graphics of the bottle make it worth just having in the collection. Make you almost not want to open it until the weekend hits. Go down to your local neighborhood liquor store. Grab yourself a bottle. Man, it tastes good. Tell them Braylon sent you, and you might just get a discount. Remember, folks, if you are going to drink responsibly. Back to the bottom line, and without further ado, let's bring in somebody that played on the team with Juwan Howard in college, the Fab Five member, Jimmy King. Jimmy King, big bro, what's going on, buddy?
Hey, Jimmy.
Is Jimmy there?
He's there. Jimmy Crack Corn, are you there?
We want to.
All right, we'll put him on hold. Sam, talk to him again.
Make sure we got
in the meantime,
it's gonna be interesting to get Jimmy's take on Juwan Howard. Juwan's now been in Michigan 3 years, and I haven't talked to Jimmy about him. It's gonna be interesting to see what does he think Juwan has accomplished so far in his 3 years, outside of just the incident, and see what he feels on that.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see for sure. Don't know if he's had an opportunity to speak with Juwan since the incident, and maybe he can share that if in fact he has. But I gotta believe that he knows Juwan almost as good as anybody he's played with, so he should have some unique insight. Is Jimmy there?
Just give us some insight, Sam, when you think he might be popping
up.
But going back to it, just looking at the situation from afar, they gave him the 5 games. When you look at the situation, they haven't had a very good year. They started very high. They weren't able to maintain a high because of shooting. The problem is, and we talked to a couple different individuals, when you have so many different problems, it's hard to get it corrected in the 30-game season. When you can't shoot, when you don't have good guard play, things like that, it's tough. But then when you get everything right in one night, you'll see an instance like what Michigan did against Purdue. So I think you mix that in, just some frustrations, then you mix in what guard did. It's against the gentleman's game of basketball. You don't call the timeout, then you don't press. So a lot of wrongs were made. Guys didn't want to necessarily worry about their own individual guys, and it just led to a clashing of coaches and players.
And here's the thing, basketball is different than college basketball is different than college football in that you don't really expect a lot of younger guys to come in and play because a lot of times they're not physically ready. And sometimes when they're not physically ready in basketball, it shows up much quicker because they expect to play right away because a lot of them expect to leave after 1 or 2 years in school anyway. So sometimes a lot of expectations are put on for college freshman basketball players coming in, and they're not ready, and you really don't figure that out until midway through the season, and you lost more games than you had planned on losing.
Yeah. Hey, a guy that has a temper as well as Tom Izzo. Yep. and I'm a Tom Izzo defender, big time. And I know he grabs his players sometimes. He's a little rough with them. And I know the dads of those players have no issues with it so far. And I know you got to coach differently these days. But yesterday, they asked Tom Izzo about the incident. This is about a minute long. This is Tom Izzo when he first found out what happened on Sunday.
The only thing I would say is it was bad for college basketball. What we're hoping to do at this time of year, with football going so much later than normal, the Super Bowl is later. It seems like every year, pretty soon the Super Bowl is going to be at Easter, you know what I mean? And it was the first weekend of no football and a chance for basketball to take the limelight. And it was a scary situation. The reason for it all, what I saw, I have no idea. I just hope that everybody learns from it, it gets better, and I guess it gave me a point when we met that night to reiterate to my players just how important it is to not get involved in anything. Forget the suspensions. I'm more worried about the injuries, and what happens to players. And didn't look good, but unlike a lot of people in the world, I'm not going to comment on something I don't know anything about, which is pretty common nowadays, both in the media and in the general public. And I'm not going to be one of those guys, and maybe I'll call both coaches and try to find out what the hell happened, or maybe I'll just coach my team and do it after the fact.
So I love this by Izzo. Izzo's basically saying, let me stay hell out of your business. That has nothing to do with the Breslin Center. It has nothing to do with the Michigan State Spartans. But he also said something interesting that I want you to comment on. It seems as though he's trying to say that there's something there. There's something that's stemming from a past. Like, that didn't just seem like that game. That didn't just seem like that afternoon. Seemed like there was something there needing for him to call each coach and see what's going on.
Boy, that sounds like the dean of the conference, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Boy, here's why I'm going to disagree with you about Tom Izzo, because I got a little bit of I got history with Tom.
That's fine.
Tom had recruited our cousin Brandon Kearney, who played for him. In that recruiting process, I had a chance to know him. I don't think he has a temper. I think he coaches very hard. And the difference for me is that, to your point, when you made the comment, Maz, that all these dads had no problem with it because he coaches hard. He's not angry at people and holding grudges. He is coaching hard in a very emotional way. So I don't think his temper is that bad where it's out of control. Braylon. I think Tom Izzo is absolutely saying, listen, we need to find out what's really going on between these two coaches. If there's something between these two coaches, I believe him when he says he's probably going to call up both of them.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody respects him. Because if you had a chance to meet him off the court, you will say, oh, my, I didn't think he was going to be like that. I mean, he has time for people. Mm-hmm. He looks you straight in the eye. He's kind of Bill Clinton-esque.
He's classy.
Yeah, very classy. And so I think he's classy enough to be respected by Juwan, by Greg Gard, that they will take his phone call and they will share with him what's going on and how to get it fixed.
He's definitely a classy elder statesman type individual. I remember talking to him this past summer at the Rocket Mortgage golf outing, just hanging out and conversating, and I kind of pulled him to the side. He was going in a bunch of different directions, and I kind of said, hey, Coach, Braylon Edwards with Lloyd, and he turned around, and instantly we just conversated for a strong 7 minutes. Like, I appreciated that he had time. He didn't have to take 7 minutes to talk to me. But with that being said, it goes back to what I said when I was listening to the press conference on Sunday. Greg Gard said something in that press conference that I couldn't shake. He said, I mean, I don't know if he was familiar with that rule that you get 10 extra seconds. He said it in a very slick way until where he almost was kind of taking shots at Jalen being a young coach, a rookie coach, never really coached. I mean, not Jalen, but Juwan being a guy never coaching anywhere before he got there as opposed to being an assistant on the Miami Heat staff. It seemed like it was something there, and then for Tom to say that too, I'm starting to dig and open that hole a little more.
It goes back to that Fab Five envy.
He stuck it to him, no doubt, and I think we got Jimmy King. I think we got the phone call all worked out. We're going to take a quick break. When we come back, Fab Fiver, Jimmy King, right here on
The Bottom Line, Woodward Sports Network.
I'm Kay Cunningham. Working with Hall Financial to purchase my first home was easier than I could have ever imagined. They treated me like family from start to finish. Find out for yourself at callhallfirst.com.
What's the over-under? Should I tease? Who is the lock of the night? Make sure you're watching Woodward Bets to get the latest in sports betting and more. Woodward Bets daily on Woodward Sports.
Yo, let's get right back into it. I think we have him on the line right now. I've been promising it. Jimmy King, big brother of mine, former Fab Five, also NBA. Jimmy, got to talk to you. What's going on, buddy?
What's going on, fellas? How you doing?
There he is.
Jimmy
Doing good,
King,
man.
what's up, man?
I haven't heard that voice in a long time, man. Welcome back, Jim.
What up, man?
It's good to hear you, my man.
Jimmy, tell us what you're doing right now, man.
Too.
Tell us what you got up right now.
Nothing much, more of the same. Actually, you'll like this. I'm going political. I'm working the election polls down here in Dallas, Texas for the early primary voting. The hours are stupid, but
welcome to politics.
Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting to to see things and have conversations with people working the polls. So
who's running? Jerry Jones and Mike McCarthy? Who are the people running?
You know what?
Dirty.
If they did run down here in Dallas, they probably wouldn't win right now.
No, they wouldn't.
They would struggle.
Hey, Jimmy, speaking of politics, let's just dive right into it. You see what happened with this suspension came down yesterday. 5 games, which is the rest of the season. He will be available for the Big Ten tournament. What do you think about the situation, and what do you think about the suspension? Fair, unfair? Give it to me straight.
I think that it's unfair to the extent that Juwan gets suspended and gets a pretty hefty fine in comparison to other parties involved, I do think, obviously there needed to be some kind of disciplinary things to happen. But for it to be, kind of skewed one-sided, just seems a little unfair. But, nonetheless, I'm just happy that it wasn't an overreaction and that, Juwan Howard's still the coach of the University of Michigan.
Hey, Jimmy, Stan Edwards, how are you doing?
What's going on, Stan?
I'm doing well.
Serious face.
Hey, so
Stan the man.
You may not have had an opportunity, and I can understand why, to maybe just be an ear or a source of just comfort for Juwan. If you were to talk to Juwan right now, tell me how that conversation would go. Would you be more consoling? Would you like to talk to him? Where would you go with Juwan in the conversation at this point?
Well, at this point, it would just be more consoling to the point that I know that he wants to be there with his team. He wants to coach his team. I know that he's disappointed and his actions, just because he's a stickler when it comes to leading by example and being a true Michigan man and doing what's right, and being a leader that others can follow as an example. So he'll be the first to tell you that he didn't do that over the weekend. But regardless of the circumstance, he took full responsibility, and he gave his word that this will never happen again, which I truly believe. So, if we were sitting in the room right now, I'll pour him a nice cold one, tell him to sit back and think about, the future and, the upcoming tournament. If they make the tournament, that should be their focus and their goal right now. Whether he's there to lead the team physically or not, he could still impact his team and still have a successful season by making the right choices and doing the right thing. This thing isn't over. And again, it's just a learning lesson. And because we all know Juwan's character, we've seen this guy for 20-plus years and on that type of stage on many different levels, NCAA, NBA, even international. So that would be the main thing that I would say to him is just, take this moment, take this time to reflect on what happened so that it doesn't happen again, and moving forward, you could be the best coach that you could be for the University of Michigan.
Jimmy, Stan again. I am not trying to patronize you on here with this next question. Do you think, listen to some of the comments around the country from some of the talking heads, that there's some Fab Five envy going on there in some of the comments that you're hearing about Juwan?
Of course. Yeah, definitely. I mean, the love was never there initially when we came. So that love obviously never, or hate never dissipated. It's kind of like Muhammad Ali, now, or Martin Luther King, for that matter. People claim how much they loved him, but during his heyday, we all know that there was a lot of naysayers and haters that tried to impede what he was doing for the betterment of the community. So, yes, I do believe that there's some Fab Five jabs in there that people now can take publicly with him being in a new role as a head coach. But that's nothing new. That's 30 years in the making. So that's in my opinion to be expected, and it's actually just irrelevant. We're grown men now. We're not young kids. Judge us on the work that we've done, and that's all we've ever asked. Which we never work. Really, I feel judged on to begin with. And so yes, I think that it is a lot of piling on from things in the past from the Fab Five, but it's just a part of our lives at this time. He knows how to handle that, and and we seen that as he held his press conference. I don't expect Juwan to really address that really, about the Fab Five stuff or anything that could be negative that that was heaved upon us or lauded our way to when we were coming up. So.
Hey, Jimmy,
just a bunch of hate.
My bad, I didn't mean to jump you there. Just want to ask you a question. People talking about the incident that happened last year in Maryland basketball with Coach Turgeon and Juwan Howard. Then you talk about the incident that happened Sunday. People are trying to make it like it has some type of anger management issues. It's someone I know him personally. I know that not to be the case, but it's someone that's known him a lot longer than anybody giving any type of suggestions. Talk to me about his passion versus this BS in terms of his anger management issues.
Well, here we go again, right? It's like the angry black man, right? How dare you get upset for anything, right? But that narrative is outdated and it's false. So we just have to take it with a grain of salt and keep using these instances as learning lessons. I've watched and we've watched many games, many sporting events, all different types of industries, all different types of genres, all different types of sports. Two in particular that comes to mind when incidents like this happen, but nobody says a word, is hockey. Coaches fight, players fight. We see all type. They use weapons. They use sticks. They might, skate. I don't even know the term. Like cleat you. Anything. So, something like this that happens in a heated game. In the moment, it's bound to happen. Some sports more than others. Basketball just isn't one of those sports because of the rules and because of the visual. We're not in the car like NASCAR, where they literally jump out and run on the track while somebody's driving and hit somebody in the head, or you've seen brawls in the pit stop. So to me, it's just another day in the office, honestly. And I'm not saying that because it's Juwan and, it's my brother, it's the University of Michigan. Like I said, I've seen this growing up. For example, even our own, Bo Schembechler, had an incident. Christian Leitner had an incident on the court. John Thompson, Don Chaney, Bobby Knight had multiple instances with his players on primetime TV. So, again, this is nothing new. I just think that it's kind of a different era and being blown out of proportion because everybody now has an opinion with social media and with all these different angles and views nowadays that everybody uses is never ending. It's just hot until the next thing happens.
Jimmy King joins us, former Fab Fiver, NBA, CBA, just an all-around good man. I'm happy to have you back on the air here on Woodward Sports, Jim. Hey, what kind of reputation? Let's face it, he's going to have a reputation now. And you know what? The other coaches and the players in the Big Ten going forward, they're going to pick at him. And they're going to try to get him to do this again, get technical, get teed up. This is the first time that coaches really in college basketball have gone against each other. I know that because ESPN has been digging for days to find out, hey, there's got to be other coaches that have fought. But no, this was a first, man. So this is a new thing. What I'm trying to say is he's going to have a reputation now, and going forward, I just don't know what's going to happen going forward with the referees and the other coaches trying to pick at Michigan.
I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I think that we will perceive it to be a big deal. The more that we talk about it, and the more that we shine light on it. But I can unequivocally tell you that Juwan's actions will not foster those types of behaviors or reactions. And if we're being honest about it, like, he didn't do it this time either. You know, no one wants to talk about, you know, him walking past the guy, and he wasn't really going to even address it. But since the coach felt the need that he needed to say something to Juwan while holding him, that in itself is an escalation. Now, in the basketball world, in basketball etiquette, it may not look like that. That may seem minor. And I'm not, minimizing it or trying to give Juwan a excuse. I just truly believe that they're professionals. They've been doing this for a long time. And I bet you that a coach in that situation has never grabbed a coach like that without there being some kind of confrontation. So words exchanged, maybe not obviously blows like I guess ESPN is trying to find, but definitely a confrontation and some grabbing and some pushing and shoving.
Talking to Fab Five member Jimmy King, former teammate of Juwan Howard, going through the situation right now. Jimmy, before I let you go, so take me here. Take me right now. Now he's suspended. Now he's come on. I think yesterday he helped himself with his press conference as well, his press release. I think that was a big thing on Sunday, the press release. When he did the press conference, he didn't seem remorseful in the moment. I think that hurt him a little bit in terms of 5 games as opposed to 2. Came out with the press release yesterday, was much better. Where does Juwan go now from 5-game suspension to getting back with his team essentially in a week and a half or so to prepare for the Big Ten tournament? What is Juwan's next move so that he can prove with his actions that this isn't going to happen again?
He's still a part of the team. You know, you can still coach the team. You just can't be on the sideline, right?
Right.
So nothing changes, and especially at this point in the season. You know, you're just doing more of the same, maybe fine-tuning some other things. But, again, I think we have to give Juwan credit in understanding that you need a solid staff behind you. And with Coach Martelli being on the bench that has years of experience in leading a team and being a head coach, there shouldn't be any pitfalls to be had, or at least, you know, there'll be minimum. So I don't really think there'll be that much of a change other than him just not sitting on the sideline in the game. So it's business as usual, maybe even more laser focused on the minutia and things of the game, since, you know, he'll be watching it from the sidelines. So he'll probably focus on, you know, the things that they need to work on and things that can help improve the team. I think that's what he's going to focus on. I know if I was him, that would be my suggestion to him, and if I was him, that's what I would do.
They got a great assistant in Phil Martelli, so who knows? Maybe they go on a 5-game win streak here and get in the tournament, right? Then what?
You know, sometimes,
what if Phil gets them in the tournament?
Have a different voice. Absolutely. Sometimes it's good to have a different voice, and then the things that he's been telling them all year, they finally get to do without having to look over to the side on the bench or, just having that presence. A lot of times players step up, and this could be a blessing, you know, in disguise.
Well, I hope it is a blessing in disguise. And as a blessing in disguise, I hope you do well down there in Dallas as the best dunker in the Big Ten in 92, 3, and 4 is now a politician. My brother Jimmy King, we appreciate you so much.
Say that.
Hey, Jimmy, you're in politics now. Keep your powder dry and keep your back to the wall, bro.
Hey,
no permanent enemies, no permanent friends,
you know,
just permanent interests.
Oh, your advice, Stan. You know I take all your advice.
Appreciate you, buddy.
I'll
Can't wait to have you again,
guys, man. I miss you all. I'll be back in Detroit in the next couple of weeks.
Okay, we'll get up there.
Grab lunch or something.
Sounds good, man. Count me in.
All right, Jimmy. Appreciate you, buddy.
For sure. All right, thanks, brother.
See you, Jimmy.
Let's get to a quick break, but let's dive into some of the stuff that he said.
Oh, yeah.
Obviously, talking about Phil Martelli.
Yeah.
Phil Martelli, longtime St. Joe's coach.
Yeah.
So he has a plethora of knowledge and
Philly tough guy.
Yeah, exactly, man. So let's get into that. That's something good, man. Bottom line, you're talking with Stan and Braylon right now, man. Woodward Sports Network.
You don't have to go to the beach, man. You don't have to get your butt crack full of sand. You just need a little chili peppers, man, to get that glowing beach chili peppers tan. Woo!
With 26 locations in the Metro Detroit area and more coming, Chili Peppers Tanning is where you'll find the cleanest salons in the D. Join the Pepper Club for the best deals on unlimited tanning. Head to chilipepperstanning.com.
You just need a little chili peppers, man.
Get a shot up. This is for the win. All of Detroit's sports teams live on Woodward. All of Detroit's sports coverage lives on Woodward Sports. Driving the best in Detroit sports coverage. Big names, bigger opinions. It's the bottom line on Woodward Sports.
Guardian Alarm gets it. Whether for home or business, a good defense helps you feel secure. Guardian Alarm has state-of-the-art technology that helps you feel safe, all with 24/7 local monitoring. Guardian Alarm also has convenient features that let you check in on your home or business, control lights and temperatures, detect smoke, or even that deadly silent killer carbon monoxide. It will even let you lock and unlock doors, and all you have to do to reach out to them is call 1-800-STAY-OUT! That's 1-800-STAY-OUT! One more time for the people in the back. It's 1-800-STAY-OUT!
For the people in the back.
Let them know Woodward Sports sent you. Guardian Alarm, your local security experts.
Sam Reynolds on the read. I
Good job,
appreciate it. I
Sam.
see you over there, Sam. Sam stepping up. You tell Stick.
You're to it, Sam.
You tell Stick he can suck on that. Dan, let's dive into it. You talked about Martelli coming in. Phil Martelli's a longtime coach, St. Joe's. Tons of experience, wealth of knowledge. He's coming in with different voice, different feel. 5 games left in the season. Is that something good for the players at this juncture, or is it bad?
Oh, absolutely. See, this is where you got to give Juwan more credit. Juwan, no, first time being a head coach, he wasn't intimidated by bringing a quality assistant head coach with the background of Phil Martelli. Absolutely, and bringing him in and knowing if in case that Juwan was never there, the team is in very good hands with Phil Martelli. So I don't look at the team to take any kind of nosedive. To your point, Mass, I'm not so sure they don't make a run going here too. You know, because Phil Martelli is a good coach. But again, Juwan Howard knew what he had in that type of assistant. That's why he brought him on board.
I had him making a run anyway. I really did. I believed in these. And this 5 games is a tough stretch. I think they could win 3 out of 5 and win a game or 2 in the Big Ten.
Right.
And I'm telling you, they'll get in at 19 wins. They will get in because they're Michigan. Yeah. I'm telling you.
Well, there's another thing. Going back to Juwan and listen to some of the things that Jimmy was saying. See, I think it's kind of hokey that since Juwan took his time about coming out and offering his level of apology, that he got a different kind of suspension.
Yeah.
His act should have warranted whatever suspension you're going to get, whether he apologized or never apologized. His act should warrant whatever kind of suspension he's going to get. I don't think, because I don't even believe, had he come out later that day and came out and say, hey guys, I'm sorry, it should never happen. I don't know what happened to me. You know, it won't happen again. That suspension would have been any less than it already is.
I'm not sure where I lay on that right now. I'm still trying to figure it out. Because for me, I think when you watch press conferences, I'm big on press conference. What was the announcer that made the comment about Shohei, and then he was instantly gone? Because when he made his apology, wasn't remorseful. We've seen that again with the Detroit Lions.
Yep.
We've seen a couple instances over the past 8 months where guys have come out and they haven't been remorseful, and then we've seen other guys come out.
Jack Morris.
There it is, Jack Morris. You've seen other guys come out that were remorseful and their sentence was less, or they didn't get punished as much. So I wonder if that had something to do with it. But also, like you brought up, Mass, there's never been a punch thrown.
No.
And I think that's where the NCAA, that's where Michigan, that's where everybody was trying to side on. That's where it was so hard to really pick that punishment, because nobody's ever thrown a punch, especially in that snapshot where you saw it. It wasn't sneaky. It wasn't on the floor. It wasn't covered up. It wasn't in the back where you don't have cameras. It wasn't word of mouth. This is what happened. Everyone on Sunday saw Juwan Howard throw a closed punch, whether it was an open punch. Everybody saw a throw motion. And I think that's what also took them a second to kind of come down and ain't nobody ever threw a punch before.
That ain't ever going away either.
Is it 2 games? Is it 5? Is it missed the tournament? Is it this? So I think they were actually in a bad spot. And I think they made the best decision that I could have hoped for as someone that cheers for Juwan Howard.
Yeah, so the intent of Juwan throwing that blow was to inflict some level of pain.
Yes.
He opened his hand, so he knew he was not trying to
What
knock
did
him
that
out.
guy say? Never mind pushing the players, but he could have been saying something as well. No one heard that.
MF, you want to get something?
Yeah, nobody said that.
Because
Juwan threw a punch with the intent on inflicting pain.
Right.
Yeah.
So that's separate to your point.
He caught himself, though. Braylon said that.
did. Yeah.
He caught himself because he was going to come with the real fist.
Yep.
And at the end, he went for the slap.
He was trying to break up whatever he was trying to break up. It was a punch.
Yeah.
It's unprecedented, so we go from there. But for me, it's always, okay, yes, that's different, but to me, it's not so different than some of the other things that have been going around. We've already talked about Bobby Knight. Mike Krzyzewski grabbed a player from another team.
Not even
because the
long
kid
ago.
was kind of showboating, doing some stuff, and after the game, Krzyzewski grabbed him, saying that's not the way to do it.
After the game.
After the game,
right?
And I got mad. I'm like, Krzyzewski, if you wanted to coach him, you should have offered him a scholarship, and you didn't.
Yeah.
So do you blame Coach K for that, or the other coach probably was he mad?
I don't know. Coach K got no flack,
right?
Except a little bit of verbiage on the talk shows the very next day.
Yeah.
That's all he got. No reprimand or anything like that. And he physically grabbed the kid, and not in a nice way. That's all I'm saying.
If I remember, it was Gabe Brown last year.
Yeah.
I think it was. That's who
Michigan State
Izzo.
Izzo
That's
got,
who
yeah.
Izzo grabbed going into halftime.
Right.
They wanted to kill him. They wanted to lynch him.
Yeah, they did.
They wanted to lynch him.
And he's grabbing his own player
Yeah.
too, which is in some kind of ways part of coaching.
Yeah.
You know, grabbing someone else's kid.
I know you don't do it nowadays. And here's another thing. People have been saying, all right, how about just skipping this handshake altogether? And, hockey is the best sport when it comes to sportsmanship. They could kick the living daylights out of each other, slash, slew foot, everything. But at the end of that series, they're lining up and they're shaking hands. Hell, man, they even shook hands with Claude Lemieux after what he did to Draper. And they were upset that they did that. But you know what? Lemieux got his the following day, March 26, 1997, when D-Mac took care of him. But someone mentioned, how about no handshakes to Tom Izzo yesterday? Here's what Coach Izzo had to say about that. You don't want to miss this.
Now.
Oh, my God.
Have you heard that?
Oh, my God, I have. And I do got to comment on that since that's not insulting to anybody. That, to me, would be the biggest farce, joke, ridiculous nature of anything I've ever heard of. We've already taught these poor 18-year-olds that when you're told to go to class and you don't like it, you can leave. We've already told these kids if you're not happy, you can do something else. We've already told these kids that it's hard to hold them accountable, and now we're going to tell them to not man up and walk down a line on someone who's kicked your butt and have enough class to shake their hand is utterly ridiculous. So if the president said it, I think he's full of it. If the best coach in America said it, I think that gets me way more than this incident. Not shaking hands. That's typical of our country right now.
Oh, there you go. Cancel culture.
And I love hearing a guy talk that don't worry about getting fired.
Because
you get the most raw, honest opinion going.
Why should he get fired?
Speaking of that,
really.
talk about what do you think about what he said? He said basically we're letting these kids do whatever they want to do, transfer to schools, don't have to go to class, and now we're going to tell them they don't have to stand in line and basically be good sports about it. What do you think about that?
For the most part, I'm with him because I think as a coach and as a leader, you have to tell your guys, after this game is over, win, lose, or draw, you get in line and you show sportsmanship and you shake their hands. Although I've heard in the last few days about this handshake line that some kids, and I think it may have been on a high school level, they were kind of harking their hand and putting spit in their hand and shaking guys' hand.
Oh, man.
I've heard that.
Old
And I just know
loogie.
if that happens to me, it's on, buddy.
Yeah.
So I don't know.
site.
I lean on the side.
Stick with the
of,
fist
let me
bump
do
then. Stick with the fist bump.
Yeah. Fist bump can turn into an all-out punch. I don't know how I land on it because I look at it in the little league level to the middle school level where they're trying to teach you good sportsmanship. The little league coach, the middle school coach, high school, it's kind of the same thing. You go, you shake the other team, and I think you're still shaping the mind of kids. You're still shaping the mind of young adults, adolescents, and even in college, you're still shaping the minds of young men. So I don't think you get rid of the kids aspect of it. Now for coaches. Now I know it's a double-edged sword, but hey, if it's a bad one, you see Juwan Howard at the end of that game, he didn't like the timeout. 2 of them, they called 2 timeouts in under 60 seconds. He didn't like it. He tried to press. They called the timeouts. He already knew he wasn't going to talk to coach after the game, Coach Gar. I think if head coaches don't want to have a moment, like if they're kind of hot, then maybe you let the coaches do it. Players got to still do it.
But that makes it look really even worse. Look at NFL. Coaches running for each other. Jimmy Handshake. Remember our guy Jim Schwartz against Jim Harbaugh? You were at that game. I mean, that almost started a war. Yeah, Bill Belichick. Sometimes he don't want to shake he didn't want to shake Mike Vrabel's hand. I remember he walked right by him.
Right.
You still got to do it, man. That's sportsmanship. Yeah. That's sports.
You got to teach young people good.
That's like don't play the national anthem. Then it's the same crap.
Yeah, agreed.
Well. We'll figure it out, man. Agree to disagree for right now. But coming up, Mark Dotson, Michigan State.
Plug that mic in, Bray. I think your mic got loose.
It's not out, is it? Are we going to a break?
Yeah, we are.
So this is Woodward Sports Network. The Bottom Line. We'll be right back. How did I do?
Look, perfect.
Audition.
Good.
Perfect. How did I do? Okay.
We're good.
Fellas, let's be honest. We like things to be easy. We like simple stuff, like sports 7 days a week. We like things uncomplicated, like Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Sign in, sit down, watch your favorite team play. And before you know it, your hair will be game ready. Open 10 to 8, 7 days a week. Walk in anytime. Lady Jane's Haircuts for Men. It's wicked awesome.
You want commercials? The other guys have those. You want great sports takes?
Touchdown! What a play!
Woodward Sports has those. Detroit's new sports outlet, the Woodward Sports Network.
Hey, gang, it's Maz from MyBookie.ag. MyBookie, where I put all my sports wagering in. Bet that Super Bowl. Of course, the All-Star Game, you could have done that as well if you're crazy enough to do that. NASCAR, the Daytona 500. And then coming up, of course, you got Major League Baseball. Yes, they're at the bargaining table. You might have baseball really soon. NHL, NBA each night as well. Get on MyBookie.ag and use that promo code Woodward. They'll double your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. MyBookie.ag. I've got it on my home phone screen. Easy to get, great interface, easy to use. And it's your money. Don't forget, use that promo code Woodward. They'll double your first deposit all the way up to $1,000. Bet anything, anytime, anywhere with MyBookie. If you have a gambling problem, please call the Michigan Problem Gambling Hotline, 1-800-270-7117.
MyBookie, that's right. Right now, let's take a time out to go to Mark Dotson, Michigan State law professor, one of my dad's friends, and good individual to get some of that in-depth knowledge on with the Juwan Howard situation, because there may be more legal ramifications. Who better bring in? Mark Dotson. Dad, bring him in.
Hey, this is Mark Dotson, and I want to say Michigan State University law professor, but their law school has a different name. It used to be Cooley. I think it might be Western Michigan now. Mark, are you there? Look at you.
Yeah, man, I'm here. Can you hear me?
And we can hear you loud and clear. So why don't you share with us the name of the law school and some of the classes that you're teaching and what you're doing?
It's Western Michigan University Thomas M. Cooley Law School. I teach torts, which is literally anything that's not criminal and contract in nature, personal injury, product liability, defamation, misrepresent, you name it. Anytime somebody's suing somebody personally, that's a tort. I teach business organizations, which gets into the various business entities. I teach criminal procedure. I used to teach criminal procedure. I don't anymore. I just talk about it more than anything else. And I teach a class called Equity and Remedies.
All right. Well, stay close by, because I might need you on speed dial for a couple other reasons too. But Mark, you are also one of the best basketball aficionados and enthusiasts I know. You write for a number of publications online and talking about basketball and sports in general. So the reason why I wanted you on is I wanted to hear your comment and take on, one, from the media's perspective, how locally and nationally, how different media outlets have approached and responded to the Juwan Howard situation.
That's a loaded question. You know me long enough to know, Stan, that I'm suspicious of anything that I might hear from the media.
Yeah.
And they've been consistent in this case too, cherry picking facts, identifying a narrative that they want to run with, and then just go with the facts. And that hasn't changed here. I've seen the coverage to vary from absolute condemnation of everything that Juwan Howard did to understanding some of the background, especially when it comes to being an African American coach in this environment, and how he might have reacted, and how some others might have reacted to him in a way that's unfavorable and deserved, or some type of sanction was warranted in that regard too. So it's varied, man. I'm kind of disappointed in some respects with the people, as I always am, with people that decide they're just going to pick a narrative and go with it. Damn any facts that might contradict that. I attempted yesterday to get on 97.1 to deal with Jansen and whoever was on with Jansen, but they had me on hold for an hour and a half because evidently they had decided when I called and had to wrestle with the producer
screeners.
The screeners, which is crazy to me, man. How they can get away with what do you want to say, and how do you want to say it, and where do you want to say it, and you don't say something that's appealing to them, then evidently you just get dropped. Now, how they get away with that, I just don't know. They do get a listening audience in them. Anyway, was actually in a pretty heated discussion yesterday with a local guy, Jack Evelyn, when it came to an interview that he did with a University of Jess Settles from the University of Iowa, who now is a Big Ten Network guy. Right. And the whole he passed it off to me with an unbiased viewpoint. All right, because he knows I've been on his show, love Jack to death. I'm his legal advisor for his show, have been for years. He knows how I get down, and I listened to it. I almost stopped listening to it because it was so one-sided, so one-sided. Anyway, it has been typical. It's been lazy. It has been. I can't even say revealing. The coverage has been exactly what, unfortunately, I have come to expect from media folks.
Mark, do me a favor. Now, when you say it's been lazy, when you say it's been revealing, go a little more in detail on what you mean by it's been lazy, it's been revealing, and it's literally one-sided.
For example, yesterday I'm listening to 97.1 while I'm whole, and the original commentary from them, narrative from them, was all indicting of Juwan Howard. And they never made any reference to the fact that the guy who got hit, where he was when he got hit, why he got hit, what he had done to precipitate that. And eventually, while I'm listening to it, maybe 3/4 of my wait time into it, guy called in and said, hey, man, all you got to do is watch the video. It's all right there, how things transpired. What I call that lazy. I call that lazy because either you have decided you're just going to disregard anything that doesn't set up with what you want to say, or you just incomplete to look at the video. That's what I mean by lazy. Unfortunate, Braylon, I teach defamation. I generally teach law, but especially when it comes to defamation and fact-finding, and the willingness of people to go out and just dirty up somebody's reputation as if indiscriminately, with impunity, is something that I try to import on my students when it comes to, you got to be a discriminating and a detailed fact finder. You have to be, because when it comes to being a lawyer, you just can't run with the facts that promote your position. You got to be ready to deal with the facts that might be contrary or adverse to your position, and you can't act like they don't exist. Oh, that's a disappointing part of this. The willingness of people to just run with something incompletely and never backtrack. They don't ever backtrack. They just say something. You've seen the number of instances where, for example, when it came to the Coach Harbaugh situation. All right, we got Coach Harbaugh going to Giants. We got him going to to Tampa. We got him going all over the place. I'm sorry, Las Vegas, all over the place. And none of that came close to being true. None of it. Yet, nevertheless, they run with it. Nobody comes back and says, I had some bad sources. Oh, that's just the way it is. And And what has happened is you got a bunch of folks that are more than willing than to run with garbage, and they know it. As long as it titillates, we describe it as if it bleeds, they read. Well, that's what they do. They know how they can get people hooked, and they know they won't ever be held accountable in any fashion. Not by the people that listen, or nor by any alleged journalism entity or authority that's responsible for imposing journalistic standards or ethics.
Yeah, so Mark, Stan, there's a little part of me that understands people who their job is to break stories. And they're going to risk reputation of trying to be first only because being first could mean a financial windfall for them. So that part I get a little bit. What I don't get is people who choose not to find the facts. They are on the story and know that they don't have the entire story or the whole story, and they're still going with it, and they will argue someone up and down. To your point, without impunity, trying to ruin someone's situation, ruin someone's reputation. Now, the new narrative is that people try to look in the background around college sports and college basketball in particular and see, had one coach ever struck or hit another coach? And no one can find that out. So now that's the category they're trying to put Juwan in. He is the only one and the very first coach to strike another coach. So you got to sit Juwan over there. So now we can take a pick at him in this particular category because there's no one else you can kind of compare him to.
Yeah, that's true. And when it comes to sanctions like this and this circumstance, because it is unprecedented, there was really nothing that Ward Manuel or Kevin Warren could turn to and say, okay, this is what we do. Unlike situations where you have recommended sentencing guidelines when it comes to a criminal situation, that doesn't exist here. So they just got to figure out what fits for the circumstance. What are they comfortable dealing with? And they settled in on 5 games. Whether that's the right number or not, it's hard to tell. It's going to largely be determined by whether or not there are any subsequent situations that might come to being close to this, and then we do a comparison at that time. But really, it's an unprecedented situation where a coach hits another coach or a staff member, no matter what the circumstance may be. So they were left to decide for themselves what the appropriate sanction should be.
All right, so since we have a lawyer on, I want to ask what I think is a legal question anyway, is there any legal ramification? Let's just say Juwan only got 1 game, and there's another coach who does the exact same thing, and he gets suspended for the entire season. Would that said coach have any legal ramification against the conference for doing that? Or is there how do you pick and choose doling out punishment where with the same incident one can get an extreme punishment, the other can get very lightly? Is there any ramifications there legally?
Let me try to clarify that a little bit, Stan. I think the Big Ten is limited as to how they can sanction somebody, or and I think the limitation is 2 games, and they did that. Excuse me, it was 5 games here. So what was imposed on Juwan was largely a University of Michigan sanction. So if the University of Michigan had decided that they would not go beyond 2 games, and the Big Ten had decided they were going to go beyond what their authority is, what authority they have to do, then there might have been a challenge to the conference, and another challenge could have been, let's just say the conference came in and said we're going to sanction Juwan 2 games. You can and ask essentially for what is referred to as a motion for reconsideration, and they may consider that's essentially what happened back in the day when Michigan got hit by the NCAA originally, and with regard to the Chris Webber etc. situation and the Ed Martin situation. And there was an original sanction. It was pretty considerable, and then Michigan appealed, and they decided they were going to back off of it a little bit. So what Juwan could potentially do is because the sanction largely comes from the University of Michigan, is go to his contract and see the terms of his contract and see in what circumstances he might be sanctioned in situations like this. If there's a violation of his contract, then potentially he's got a legal claim for violation of contract. Yeah. Otherwise, as a member institution of the Big Ten Conference and the NCAA, you pretty much have to play by their rules.
Yeah. Hey, great stuff, man. We got to get you back on here and talk about some more legal issues in sports moving forward, particularly the NIL. It's going to still, I think, blow up in a bad way, so we'd like to get your take on that sometime in the future. Really appreciate your time because you've added value to this show like no one ever has, in my opinion. So,
yeah, I appreciate that, Mark. Mark, thanks for having me on. Thanks for letting us have you on, and we definitely will reach out to you in the future with other matters regarding legal and just matters of Snapchat that you understand in depth like you did this one. Appreciate you, buddy.
Take care,
all right,
Mark.
fellas. Yeah. Be good. Be good.
Thanks.
Thank
Thanks.
you. Enjoy
Yep.
it. Yep.
Got to get to a break. The long and the skinny of it is, look, man, Juwan Howard got 5 games. I'm glad he got 5 games. I was afraid that he might have gotten suspended for the rest of the year in Big Ten tournament, which looks worse. And also maybe he was going to get fired. He's got 5 games. He legitimately has 5 games to sit there and figure out how does he want to be moving forward. And I think that's the best thing for him. I think that's the best thing for the players as well.
I want to say this before we get off the subject. What if they go 5-0 and win a? What if they go 5-0 with Phil Martelli? That's all I got to say. What if they go 5-0 with Phil Martelli?
Juwan hopes that they do that. I was hoping Juwan get a chance this year to coach another game and get introduced inside the Chrysler Center. That would have been right.
Oh yeah, I know, right? Yeah. After everything going on, but
if he gets to the NIT, he will.
Yeah,
you don't
right.
want that though.
Yeah.
I tell you what. I know Ward. With what happened with Jim Harbaugh in January and now Juwan Howard this Sunday, I know Ward's like, damn, can I get a break?
I know.
Like, Jesus Christ, can I get a break?
Yeah.
But
how's the hockey team doing?
I know, right? They're doing not too bad.
Yeah, they're doing always good.
But let's go to a break and let's talk about another guy that doesn't seem to want to let things die, and that's Aaron Rodgers. He came out with another Monday spill, Monday night, couple of those bourbons, and had some interesting things to say. We'll talk to you about that in a second. I'm Braylon, that's Stan, and this is The Bottom Line, Woodward Sports Network.
It took exploring 50 different formulas and hosting countless taste tests, but we believe Gypsy Vodka is the smoothest vodka on the market. Don't believe us? Ask the owners.
We're Mike and Adam Kazanowski with High Five Spirits Distillery. We're in close to about 1,200 locations throughout Michigan. We wanted to create a brand that was geared more towards freedom, love, adventure, and at the end of the day, we really wanted to tell a story that inspired other people to take risk, follow their dreams, whatever that might be.
Putting on a show here, that's how you answer. We love our sports. We just wish they'd love us back. Detroit sports for Detroit sports fans. Woodward Sports.
Hey gang, I want to tell you about Les Stanford Chevrolet in Dearborn, located on Michigan Avenue.
Tell me about him.
Les Stanford is your Corvette king. GM announced the all-new 2023 Corvette Z06.
Vroom, vroom,
Vroom. Its flat,
sound like a Pinto.
Its flat plane V8 is capable of 670 horsepower, making it the most powerful, naturally aspirated V8 in production. How about 0 to 60 in 2.6 seconds?
Sheesh.
Oh my goodness. For more, go to CorvetteKing.com, or for all of your other buying Chevrolet or Cadillac needs, visit LesStanford.com or call 313-565-6000 or visit LesStanford.com. LesStanford.com. Find new roads.
Find them.
0 to 2.6 was that escalation on the sideline with Juwan Howard and Coach Gar on Sunday. But let's talk about some other escalation. Aaron Rodgers added again Monday night. Last night, had time to think about the season, had to reflect a little bit. He had a couple of those bourbons that he loves to have on McAfee show, and he had a mouthful to say. I think we have some of it. Alex, do me a favor and put up what Aaron Rodgers had to say last night. Oh, man, gratitude is the wine for the soul. Go on, get drunk. That was one of Aaron Rodgers' posts. What else do we got going? Aaron Rodgers, 12. Here you go. Here's some Monday Night Gratitude for some of the incredibly special people in my life with some pictures from the last beautiful year. The last beautiful year, I quote. At Shailene Woodley, that's his girlfriend, his fiance that he broke up with. Thanks for letting me chase after you this first couple of months after we met and finally letting me catch up with you and be a part of your life. He goes on to say about unconditional love for her and that he's grateful that he met her. Then he jumped into the men in the quarterback room with Everyday, Matt, Nathaniel, Luke, at Jordan, 3 Love, and Kurt, Ben, Kurt.
And Nathaniel's gone now. He's with Denver.
I know, right? You guys made every day so much fun, and I am so thankful for the daily laughs, the stress relief you brought me every week of every year. I love you guys. And then more and more and more. We can stop there and just jump into this one. Oh, here it is. It's more. It's Randall Cobb. It's David Bakhtiari. It's Frankie Chevy. I loved every moment we got to spend together this year. Your love and support is overwhelming, and I cherish the friendships that I have with each one of you. And I'll skip to the end. To everyone else, spread love and gratitude, you beautiful people, and read a book once in a while, too, while you're at it. Love and peace. 2 heart emojis. And I'm sure a 3rd bourbon shot after that.
Let me set it up for you. This all comes.
What is this?
This all comes.
What did I just read? What did I just look at? What is going on? Maz, take me inside the head of Aaron Rodgers, number 12.
He told Pat McAfee today, first words out of his mouth were, I'm not going to decide on my future today. Everyone was like, oh. Because they had quite a number of people,
135,000.
Yeah, 135,000 strong, waiting for him to say what he was going to do. But he said, I just came out of a 12-day cleanse. He went into a sabbatical for 12 days, drank a lot of water, drank a lot of whatever the heck else he did. He chilled out, and he reevaluated. He reset his body. He reset his mind. So last night, when he put out those tweets and the Instagram, he had nothing but love on his mind. Love, peace and love. Right, Stan? You heard it, too. You were there listening to me. And he sounded like, honestly, a guy you would talk to in 1970, a guy that just came off a flowery hill after drinking and having some peyote.
Cal Berkeley.
The whole 9 yards.
Berkeley.
This guy was just chilling like a hippie. Yeah. And right now he is in a hippie stage, and no decision has been made yet.
I think it's more to that. What do you think, Dan?
Well, no, it's funny. It's not Cal Berkeley. That's straight from Woodstock.
Yeah.
Because he is hippie. He is he will be the most interesting individual in almost any room, any culture, in any country around the world. And he has one of the top 10 arms ever to walk the planet. So he is a media's dream because he's always going to have something interesting to say, and he's a great football player. When you get a guy like that, you got to be careful about really taking shots at him because he makes everybody's jobs just a little more interesting.
Put the pictures up, Alex, because this is what he put up. You know, he's put up a bunch of pictures, and a couple of them are his wide receiver friends. Randall Cobb. He stands in the middle of Randall Cobb and Davante Adams. But what did he put up there?
He put up a picture where there's a Randall Cobb, there's an empty space, and then there's Davante Adams, which is signifying, hey, look at it. It looks a lot different without having that number 12 in there. And I get all the Zen-likeness. Yes, he's Zen-like, and he broke up with Shailene, and he won the MVP 4. He went out golfing, and now he's in Zen mode. He's relaxing. He's done a cleanse. Everything is clean. He probably bleached his situation as well. He's clean. He's going into 2022.
You think he bleached?
Yeah, definitely. Okay. That's part of the process. If he's going into 2022 clean for the offseason, I think he's also still trolling. Aaron Rodgers is a guy that owns $41.2 million of cap space wherever he goes. Wherever he goes, whether it's whether it's still in Green Bay, whether it's to the Saints, whether it's to Steelers, Denver, insert, still $41 million cap hit. And the problem is, go ahead.
No, go ahead.
And the problem is now with Davante Adams, who they're going to franchise, by the way. So this is where Davante Adams gets messed up. They're going to franchise Davante Adams, period. They're not going to pay him because they were going to franchise him before the season. Now they franchise him. He still doesn't get money. And now Aaron Rodgers holds him hostage. It's like, oh, well, if you franchise me, now I'm stuck here with Jordan Love and you potentially leaving. Aaron Rodgers just likes to be the center of attention. He's liking to draw this thing out. And he's trying to do it in such a way where this time around, unlike last year where everybody was just hanging, see, this time around, I'm showing some love. I'm spreading some cheer. I'm talking to my players and saying, hey, man, I love the ride. I love the experience, man. I love the way that you helped me. I love the way that you were there for me. That I love the love you gave me. I love the support you gave me. He's going player by player, position by position, his ex-girlfriend, ex-fiance. He's smart in what he's doing because now we're like, oh, well, you know what? He gets it this time around. No, you're holding up the process. Are you coming back to Green Bay or are you going somewhere
Today's
else?
only
Let
day
us
one.
know.
It's only day one.
It doesn't matter. Let us know. You know now.
Today is when you could franchise
Aaron
players.
Rodgers knows.
It's day one of the new NFL season.
Aaron Rodgers is Tom Brady.
Yep.
He is Michael Jordan. He is every player who turned out to be great, who got dissed somewhere in their career, and they will never forget.
And they're going to make everybody pay
because
for it.
I literally remember, personally, after we had walked out, you had done all the interviews in the 2005 draft, and we were at the Javits Center in New York. Braylon had been drafted almost an hour and a half I had walked back in there, and I walked past Aaron and his parents sitting at the table, just slumped down, and how horrible of a feeling he had because he felt like he should have been drafted, and he clearly should have.
Yeah.
You know, and some people never forget it. And every time they get a chance to show you that they're in charge and you can't do anything to, they will always do it.
The problem is he didn't take it off the sheet this time. And what that means in bowling terms is bowl a 300 game. Or on his terms, win a damn playoff game, win an NFC championship, and
get back into it.
A Super Bowl.
Sure, well, let's take a quick break and get back into it because I want to dive more into what Aaron Rodgers should do. I think he should let them know. He knows what he wants to do. Right. And we know that in the new NFL. We know that, you know what? I'll say that. You're tuned into the Bottom Line right now with my dad and myself and Maz on the couch. This is Woodward Sports Network, the Bottom Line.
Make sure you download the Woodward Sports app in the App Store and the Google Play Store today. Take Woodward Sports with you wherever you go and listen live on your phone or mobile device.
Hey, everybody, if you've never folded before, you got to get down to the Folding Warehouse in Hamtramck. What is folding? It's throwing a football at bowling pins, except you got to do it from, just almost the same distance as you bowl. It's a fun game. You can throw your elbow out if you don't watch it, though. And the inventor of that game is Chris Hutt. And he is there for you, and he'll tell you everything that you need to know about what to fold, how to fold, and how to have fun. Bring a friend. Do it by yourself. It could be a team building event, corporate party, whatever you want to do. Do it at the Folding Warehouse in Hamtramck. They are loaded, too. Full open bars. Not open. You got to pay for the liquor, of course. They've got over 100 beers, a $2 mystery beer machine. Bring your own food in or even have it delivered. Come get your fold on at the Folding Warehouse. Check them out at foldingwarehouse.com. Braylon?
For over 10 years, SMA has been leveraging relationships and other notables with pro athletes for over a decade against the issues around mental health and substance use disorder. Actually, right now, SMA is right here filming for the first time. First day of This is the F Word, and that is the sports marketing pod agency talking about fentanyl. Check this out. Go down to thesportsma.com. That is thesportsma.com. If you have any questions, if you have anybody that you need to refer to this, if you have anybody that you want to get information on, be it yourself or someone else, please reach out to thesportsma.com. We are here to help. Sean Jordan, NFL alumni, has done a great job. Lomas Brown, Devin Gardner, Michael Ealy, myself, just to name a few. Help us help you. thesportsma.com. So what I was saying before the break, and I want to get to, I've been thinking this right now. Nowadays, I feel like you have to play for two teams. You have to have two careers in order to be a legend, in order to be the iconic situation. Back in the day, you saw Joe Montana leaves the 49ers. He plays for the Chiefs. He comes up short, but he's already Joe Montana from the 49ers. You look at Warren Moon. Warren Moon threw for 4,000 yards for 3 different teams, over 3,000 yards for 4 different teams, but never won the big dance, whether it was with the Oilers, whether it was with the Seahawks, whether it was with the Vikings or the Chiefs.
Won with the Eskimos.
The Eskimos, 6 years actually, the Gary Cup. Right. There you go. You didn't now see it then. You know, Drew Bledsoe was another guy. He gets the ring because of Tom Brady. Yeah. Then he goes to Buffalo, has some success, makes a couple Pro Bowls, but can never get the Buffalo Bills back. But now you're seeing, and you can start with Drew Brees. Drew Brees leaves San Diego. Brees has some success. He goes to the Saints. He literally has a whole nother career. He's a Hall of Famer. You look at Peyton, the Colts, and then the Broncos. You look at Matt Stafford now. Matt Stafford, the Lions, now the Rams. You look at Tom Brady, the Patriots, now the Buccaneers. You look at these guys now. Guys are having that second team where they basically put it all on the line. The first team they were at, whether that's Green Bay for Aaron Rodgers, and then in that second season, that second career, that's when they made their bones and they become the iconic. Do you have to go to a second team to become iconic now? Is that what Aaron Rodgers is doing for us? He's setting us up to get us to a second team?
I don't know about that, man, but he did say he stayed in Green Bay longer this year. First of all, because they lost in the first round. But he said he had a wonderful experience with a meeting with the Packer brass. Matter of fact, Stan, I think you were listening as he was talking. Brian Gutekunst, the president, Mark Murphy, all the rest of the Green Bay contingent. And he said he had the best meeting that he's ever had with that team. So here you go. Just when you think he's going to leave, Now he pulls the rug back on you and says, well, I really had a great time with the Green Bay people. I know I had trouble in the past, but it looks like now all things are fine. I have no idea anymore what this man is going to do. I have no idea. He'd make a great 49er. So would Tom Brady. I just don't even know anymore. Do I want him to stay with the Packers? I do. I'd like to see him make one more run.
Well, it's funny because I was listening to the story that you're listening to, and they met at Aaron Rodgers' home, which is interesting. He made everybody come to his house. So here's where it is for me. Is Aaron Rodgers, is he a guy that likes that New York vibe or the Hollywood and L.A., that kind of scene there where he really wants to work on his career after football? Is he that guy? Or is he B, he really wants to get himself in a Tom Brady type situation and win another championship? That's the most important thing to him. Or C, he's not going anywhere. He just loves drama. He just loves having people talk about him and trying to figure it out. And he is happy as a lark in Green Bay. He just will never tell you that.
Bray, we've been talking about it the whole time. What team best fits him? You see him with the uniform, the Bronco uniform on, it just don't look right on him.
Yeah, no uniform is going to look more right on him than the Green Bay Packers uniform. There's odds right here. This is FanDuel. They placed their odds, or Sportsline, on what team will Aaron Rodgers play next. Obviously, the Broncos plus 250 is the best odds, and then the Titans sitting at 1,400.
Remember we said that? Because he bought a house there.
In Nashville.
But you notice what team's not on there?
Green Bay.
The Packers.
Right.
Green Bay. I think which goes into the Aaron Rodgers thing. I think what you said there, I think all those things are true. I think he loves drama. He loves the consistency of being talked about. He loves all that. I think he likes being with Green Bay. I think he likes the situation better now than it was this year. I think Aaron Rodgers has done his homework. I think Aaron Rodgers has paid attention this whole season. If you watch this season, all we talked about was these young studs at quarterback, and most of them are in the AFC. The start of the season, is it Lamar Jackson? Is it Derek Carr? Is it Mahomes? Is it Josh Allen? Is it Stafford?
Right.
Is it Brady?
Herbert?
Is it Rodgers? Is it Herbert? By the way, Herbert, only quarterback ever, 2 30-yard touchdowns, 2 30 touchdown seasons back to back. That's amazing. If side note, can we talk about the Chargers going all in? Yeah. If I'm the Chargers, you talk about winning on a rookie contract. This is when you got to win.
Well, the Chargers, you need Devontae Adams then.
The Chargers got to go all in. If I'm the Chargers, if I'm Brad Staley, if I'm talking to the ownership for the Chargers, hey, this is the year. You got Justin Herbert, which means you got a rookie deal, which means you have money to spend. You have a ton of players that are legitimately game-time players. They are Pro Bowl players. If I'm the Chargers, this is the year for that.
Well, Aaron Rodgers, I don't know if a Tom Brady type of situation is really convenient for him. It's one thing to say, I want to be like Tom. I want to go someplace and win the Super Bowl right away. Where is that team? And do you have the coordinator to support it? Do you have the head coach to support it? And will you be able to bring a Gronkowski and a Antonio Brown with you to make sure that you have all the weapons you need to be successful and have one of the top defenses in the league? So I don't really know that situation, because it's not Denver.
Right.
It's definitely not Denver. And so I don't know some of these other places that the 49ers, possibly it's going home, but I don't know. That's also home for Tom Brady too.
Yep.
So who is going home first? That's the question.
And that goes back to what I was talking about, and the Chargers got me distracted. When Aaron Rodgers was looking at this season, especially once it gets to the end, Aaron has to be thinking, if he's a smart man, which he is, why go to the AFC North?
Yeah.
Why go to the AFC West? I don't want to go over there.
The AFC, period.
I don't want to go to AFC West. I don't want to have to play against Patrick Mahomes,
right,
and then Herbert,
right,
and then Derek Carr, and there I am trying to figure out what my offense is going to be. There's some weapons, but they're already ready.
Right.
They're already locked in the chamber. You got to go figure it out. Oh, well, you can go down here to Pittsburgh. I want to go against Lamar. I want to go against Joe Burrow.
Right.
That's real. I got to go against Lamar. They had 24 injuries last year, talking about the Ravens, and still almost made the playoffs. Now you got a guy that nobody's talking about, which is Lamar Jackson, who's still the most dynamic player in the NFL. I want to go to his division when he's pissed off. His team with John Harbaugh, who we said from top to bottom. Aaron has looked at that snapshot of every conference, and he has to tell himself, why the hell would I leave?
Right.
What? At least Tom going to the Bucs. It's all right. He's got to go against Breeze. They can figure it out.
He's in the sorriest division right now.
Yeah.
That's where he's dominated his whole career.
Yeah.
He owns us. He owns the Lions. He owns the Bears. He already told you that. And he owns the Vikings.
And they're still in great situation. You're looking at the Lions. Yes, we here in the Lions, we're very optimistic about what Brad Holmes and Dan Campbell are going to do. We like the players that they drafted last year. You saw them come on strong late. Saw Jared Goff play a lot better in the month of December, his last 6 games. But at the end of the day, they're still the Lions. There's still some work to be done to get there. I'm Aaron Rodgers. I see that. I see Chicago. Yeah, they got a new coach, but they still went the defensive route, and they don't have anybody that's going to plug Justin Fields. I see that. And then I look at the Minnesota Vikings. That's the only problem. That's the only place I will look to in the division and say that could be a problem. But so what? They always are almost a problem.
Yeah, the only team that makes sense for me would be the San Francisco 49ers. You know, they have so much in place. Obviously, Jimmy Garoppolo's not going back there. I don't think Trey Lance is ready to win right now.
Right.
I think they're okay with having him sit behind Aaron. But
he might never be ready.
Yeah, I never thought he was that good either way. He's okay. He's a prospect. He's a prospect. But again, Aaron might have 4 to 5 years in him still.
Yeah.
Don't know if he wants to play that long. He seems to take very good care of himself.
He loves the game, though.
Yeah, he does love the game. I think it's either staying in Green Bay or at any other place he moves, it'll be San Francisco.
You know what he said? It's not a stressful game to me. It's a stress relief game to me. I love playing football. So he's not retiring by any means.
Yeah, it's stress relief until you get beat in the playoffs when you're supposed to be the favorite every year, especially year after this year.
No doubt. He can't beat the Niners.
And you get knocked out. So for me, it's a situation where if he leaves, I'm looking at the 49ers, I'm looking at the Steelers. Right. I know I'm going back to that whole image that I have in my head of him and Mike Tomlin having fun during the game.
Right.
I go back. Sorry. Oh, no. I go back to that imaging. I go back to what they have. Mason Rudolph. Yes, Mason Rudolph is 5-4-1, but that 5-4-1 was a bad 5-4-1. It was an awful 5-4-1.
He's a backup quarterback.
They don't want him to be the starter at all. And I know the GM came out who also said this will be his last year.
Kevin Colbert.
I'm very confused at why a GM would say this is his last year. Why not just retire now? Do you want to be the guy that's in charge of picking Ben Roethlisberger's replacement? Is that what you're kind of setting yourself up to do? I don't understand that at all, but I think that's a great place for Aaron would be Pittsburgh, because I think Russell Wilson has that position locked up down there in New Orleans.
Well, Kevin Colbert, don't forget, he was here in Detroit, and they let him out the door, and he goes to Pittsburgh and wins 2 Super Bowls.
Yeah, 49ers, he's got a lot in place. He's got receivers, he's got, Deebo Samuel, he's got Brandon Ayuk, and the best, most skillful tight end in the game in George Kittle. So
Elijah Mitchell in the backfield.
Lot in place for him in San Francisco.
I'm just more so just worried about that caption. I guess maybe they swap players somehow. You take Jimmy G. Jimmy G's a 28-point hit. He's 46-1. I mean, not 46, but 44-1. So maybe you do the difference, just take the difference and figure out something from there. So we'll see how that goes. But somebody else isn't happy with their allegiances too. They feel like they've played hurt. They feel like they saw one of their best friends get a chance to leave this place, said it was somebody else's fault. It wasn't. It was the guy, got out, won the Super Bowl. His guy played at LSU with him. Talking about Jarvis, Landry, has some. He's another guy with Twitter fingers. Let's take a quick break.
He'd make a nice lion.
You said what?
He'd make a nice lion.
Nah, Jarvis he's ready to play for the
He
chip.
wants to win. Everyone's jealous of Odell, let's face it.
Especially considering Odell had to come through there. Let's talk about that, man. We'll come back, man. Bottom line, Edwards and Armani filling in. My dad Stan. Let's do it.
Everyone looks at him now.
6 dark corners, a driveway and a patio, 5 windows that could become doors. Every house has unique security challenges. Guardian Alarm has more tech, more team, and more ways to help keep them all safe. Get a professionally designed and installed security and smart home system from Guardian Alarm. Sign up today and get a free video device. Guardian Alarm. Smart right from the start. Call 1-800-STAY-OUT.
Detroit sports by Detroiters and for Detroiters. This is Detroit Sports Network. This is Woodward Sports.
Planet Fitness is home of the judgment-free zone where you can work out, do your thing, mind your business, and guess what? Everybody else will mind theirs too. Membership right now is just $10.
Only $10?
Hey, only $10, my God. It's 2 $5 bills, man. Or $22.99 if you need the black card. What comes with the black card? Don't worry, I'll tell you. Members enjoy the use of amenities such as unlimited tanning, hydro massage chairs, and total body enhancement, along with access to over 2,000 locations worldwide. Not neighborhood-wide, not statewide, but worldwide. That means that membership card will be at use all types of places. Join today in club or online at www.planetfitness.com. PlanetFitness.com. No matter where you are, there's a Planet Fitness close by. Also, or go down to the Planet Fitness just opening up in Midtown at the Detroit Performance Center. My God, they are doing it big at Planet Fitness. Your fitness is essential. That's why you got to sign with Planet Fitness right now. Coming back, there are a lot of people who had those fingers typing and texting and tweeting and sending messages on social media via Twitter, via Instagram. Jarvis LaJuice Landry is another interesting individual. Played down in Miami, tremendous wide receiver, has played tremendous over his years. Ty Odell, when the guy came out, first 4 years, the fastest to reach 7,000 yards. Tied that, played well for them, got picked up by the Cleveland Browns, had 2 Pro Bowl years with the Cleveland Browns and played well. Well, last year you saw what happened. Odell's there his 3rd year. Odell's not getting the ball. Odell's dad comes out and talks about it's not his fault, it's Baker's fault. Odell gets a get out of jail free card. He gets to the Rams, and now Odell is a Super Bowl winner, and Jarvis is looking like, but I thought we were boys. Well, you know what? Maybe I have to speak because the squeaky wheel gets the oil. Let's put up some of those tweets. Jarvis not happy, man. He's not happy. Reality behind all this came back to play in the best shape of my life. I got hurt week 2 with the high-grade MCL sprain, partial quad tear, and bone bruise. Then came back way too early and ended up staying hurt the entire season. You never heard me mention anything about it. That was the first tweet. Also, my media availability didn't happen because I was focused on getting on the field as healthy as I possibly during the week and after games. A strategic plan was set in place to be followed. I put the ball in Cleveland's court by telling them I would like to stay, but if not, then I have put the ball in their court and telling them I am confident enough in myself to be a better, healthy me this year and moving forward to helping do my part in winning a championship elsewhere. Before this year, I missed 0 games, so push y'all narrative as noted, or it's noted. I gave everything, exclamation, 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 everything in all caps. Dad, what is Juice trying to tell us right here?
Well, first of all, he is still ascending. He's still considered one of the top receivers in the league. He's not top 5. I don't think he's top 7. But he's 8 to 12.
Yeah.
He's one of those guys, 8 to 12, and he's still ascending. So he's not about to find or be about a money grab, just to go someplace like the Lions and be the wide receiver savior, and you got to pay me some money, and I'm going to get my head beat in because we're going to lose. He wants to win a Super Bowl. He wants to be part of a championship organization or at least a championship run where he can have some fun and showcase his talents. So where that might be, he kind of knows it won't happen in Cleveland. So when is his contract up?
I think he's unrestricted after this year. He's got 1 more.
Yeah, and so he'll be looking to move someplace that really can use a receiver. And the way the game is played today, you can always find room for a good wide receiver. So I don't suspect he'll be in Cleveland very long.
Yeah, I mean, I can tell you what this is. You know, this is an issue. This is a situation where a guy has been loyal to the team. He was loyal when he was a Dolphin. He was traded to the Browns. He embraced the Browns. When he got to the Browns were still the Browns. The Browns were bad. He got there before Baker did. So the Browns were a bad franchise. The Browns had that stink on them of not being able to get to the playoffs. When they get to the playoffs, not being able to get a win. So I'm in. I'm all in. I'm trying to win. I'm trying to be the good guy. I'm trying to be the wide receiver that everyone thinks we're divas, this, that, and the third. He's been there, locked and loaded. They bought in AB. He showed AB the ropes. He said, hey, man, this is how we do it here in Cleveland. Right. You know, you're my boy, but I'm going to make sure we do it together so we're on the same page, so we win, so you don't get in trouble, et cetera. Did all that. They put the focus on AB this year. Not AB, talking about OBJ. Odell, talking about OBJ. Then OBJ and Baker have their back and forth. Right. And then OBJ, he gets out. And no time have they mentioned Juice. Like, no time have they mentioned Juice this whole season as it relates to Baker and OBJ and who's fault and who was loyal. See, when you're a guy that you're loyal to a bad team or you're loyal to a bad situation, nobody says anything about it. Nobody talks about taking care of you. Nobody said, hey, one priority that we have is Juice Landry. He was loyal. We got to make sure we take care of Juice. That's never come out. They haven't reached out to him. They haven't reached out via media, via Twitter, via social media, and they haven't reached out to his attorney or his agent. Probably, and that's why he's putting this out. He was like, man, if y'all can't respect me here in Cleveland, y'all ain't got nobody. I'll get out of here like OBJ did, and I'll go somewhere where they respect me. Yeah. Because, oh, by the way, I love OBJ, but I ain't never have issues like OBJ had.
Right.
Like, I've been good since day one.
Yeah.
I know somebody wants to pick me up, Maz, and let me do my thing and help them win the championship.
I know. Then listen, let me talk on fantasy football for a second. Jarvis Landry, he's got the name recognition.
Juice.
But you know what? He really has not put the numbers up in the last 2 years. And I know he's saying he was injured. Everybody's injured. I just don't know. I didn't follow his career enough. I know he throws a good ball. He used to be a quarterback back in the day. Came from the Dolphins. He came to Cleveland. Didn't he get paid?
He did.
He got a pretty good contract, but he really has not put out the numbers to back that contract up. Now, OBJ, the squeaky wheel, he gets out of town, and that's what Jarvis Landry's doing now. Although he says, I want to be in Cleveland, I want to stay in Cleveland. Do you really believe? You were in Cleveland. Do you believe him? Does he want to stay in Cleveland?
Well, in Jarvis's case, he's a true professional.
Yes.
He's the kind of guy, he does what he's supposed to do. He comes to work, keep his mouth closed, puts his head down, and he grinds. See, the Cleveland Browns is a great example, and I want to talk to your point about him not having the numbers to back it up. The Cleveland Browns is the antithesis of what the Los Angeles Rams were. Just because you put a lot of talented guys together don't mean the chemistry or it's going to work. Because the Cleveland Browns are pulling in folks who had high draft picks all over the place. They're bringing in, down lineman Jadeveon Clowney. They're bringing in OBJ, Jarvis, all those guys. And it just didn't work. Now, look what the Los Angeles Rams did. They bring in Matthew Stafford, they bring in Von Miller, and they bring in all these other guys, and Jalen Ramsey, and it did work. You got to know what you're doing when you bring in talented people all in. And just don't look at their skill, but understand that their personality, their game, and everything about them is going to fit into your system and your culture to make sure we're in an organization. And Cleveland Browns haven't figured that out yet.
Now, also, what Jarvis Landry said, Jarvis Landry isn't trying to tell you, hey, look, I want you to break the bank and pay me. I want you to make me just as paid as Devontae Adams is about to pay. He realizes his last couple of years have not been that. So he's not trying to break the bank. What he wants is stability. What he wants is you to come back and say, hey, you know what, we appreciate you for being loyal. And here's a real kicker, Mass. We appreciate you for being in part of a boo-boo organization like the Cleveland Browns, where our quarterback, or you want to talk about efficiency, you want to talk about QBR, you want to talk about who's had the worst QBR in Cume over the last 5 years, you want to talk about who has the most interceptions over the last 5 years, do you want to talk about how bad the passing game has been in Cleveland over the last 5 years? So when you say Jarvis hasn't had the numbers, don't forget what offensive system he's in and what quarterback has been operating in that system. Or when he's not operating, it's Case Keenum. Or when Case Keenum's not operating, insert another guy that's about 5'11" and a half and can't throw the ball past 40-yard line. His numbers are very reflective of the situation that he's in Cleveland. And so they're not necessarily perfect numbers. He really only got injured this year. But when you look at what Cleveland has been as an offense, inconsistency, and how Baker's QBR has tanked year after year after year, you can kind of understand where his numbers are and why he wants right now some stability.
Well, he ain't gonna get it because they're bringing numbnuts back. They've got him. He's not going anywhere. All right, that's the quarterback.
Baker Mayfield.
Baker Mayfield's the quarterback. So
he's got one more year in his rookie deal.
He's got 15 touchdowns in 4 years. Last year, he 570 yards, 2 touchdowns. Like I'm saying, if I'm drafting wide receivers for a fantasy, I'm not picking Landry. That's all.
Yeah, I'm not so sure if the Browns ownership understands who they have in their front office. If you just think about that, all the coaches they've had over the last year, for the past few years, and starting with Hugh Jackson, I don't know that he really got a fair shot, but I also don't know he didn't win any games. So it's just not been really.
Well, we now know he got paid not to.
Yeah, he did say that. And so it just seems that they are just looking at players on paper and throwing stuff against the wall and see if it works. They don't really know how to put a culture in an organization and win an organization together. They don't know what quarterback they want, for what offense, for what system, for what defense. They've had a good running game.
They were set up to win this year. They were set up to win this year.
Yeah,
and they imploded.
One of the big things is they haven't got the quarterback right, and even they thought Baker Mayfield was going to be the guy. It seemed like he was going to be the guy. It just wasn't the guy. They got the right running backs. They got Chubb. They got Kareem Hunt. They went and got Njoku from Miami 4 years ago.
Right.
They got Odell. They brought in Jarvis Landry. Two things that have killed them, man, is one, the quarterback, and two, injuries. Injuries have plagued them. Every time they've gotten this close to getting everybody together, you look at the playoff run when they beat the Steelers, Odell was hurt. Odell didn't play in that. You look 2 years before that, you look, Njoku got hurt. You look last year, both the running backs got hurt. By the way, it was funny that Kareem Hunt missed the rest of the NFL football season last year, but I saw him in the celebrity game on Friday, celebrity basketball game.
He healed up.
I'm glad I'm not a part of the front office because I would have had some.
They taped the aspirin too.
I would have had some words for
Yeah.
You know what he's
Kareem
got? He's got
Hunt.
the same injuries as James Harden has.
Yeah, there you go.
It's called fat suit.
The Cleveland Browns, I'm not sure that the coaching is where it needs to be. They have a lot of talented players. They don't have a good winning culture there. So they still have to do some revamping on trying to figure out what their identity is going to be in the front office, on the field, and in the locker room.
Well, going to our favorite last segment of the show. But before we get there, before we get the Mavs' videos of the day, AB had an interesting situation that happened to him yesterday, talking about Antonio Brown.
Yeah.
We'll come back, talk about the real cook, and we'll get the Mavs' videos of the day. I'm Brother Edwards. This is Woodward Sports Network, The Bottom Line. Ryan, we'll see you in a couple days, buddy.
Life is full of hard choices. We're here to make one of life's biggest decisions as simple as possible. My name is Christina Gennari, and for over 20 years, I've helped hundreds of families buy and sell homes. We cover all of Metro Detroit and more, from large luxury homes to starter homes. We will work hard to make sure that you get the home of your dreams. So if you're in the market today or even thinking about buying or selling in the future, make the obvious choice. Christina Gennari, the obvious choice in real estate. Visit us at soldchristina.com today.
Follow us everywhere. Just search Woodward Sports on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, Twitch, IG, and more.
Chili Peppers Tanning. That's right. That's where Sam was yesterday with Big D Energy when they opened up their brand new salon in Berkeley up between 11 and 12 Mile on Woodward Avenue. Chili Peppers Tanning. You'll find the cleanest salons in the D, spotless sanitized rooms, and trained and certified tanning professionals. And Sam loved them all, by the way. So join the Pepper Club for the best deals. They beat all competitors by $5. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. ChiliPeppersTanning.com. How about that? The hottest bulbs, the hottest deals, the darkest tans. Your vitamin D headquarters. 26 locations and more on the way. Get your tan going at Chili Peppers Tanning.
Yeah, I never thought tanning, massage, and parlors was for me. And then I noticed that they have a ton of other things that you can do outside of just tan. So I may have to go check out Peppers and see what's available. It looks very relaxing over there.
Hey, it makes you feel a little bit better. I mean, you don't want to overdo it, but you want to go there and you want to feel better. You look better. If you look better, I guess you feel better. That vitamin D, man, we're missing it. We lack it here in Detroit big time. I bet you if you take everyone's blood in Michigan, give them a blood test, vitamin D is sorely lacking.
Yeah, vitamin D is lacking for most people that are north of the
equator.
Well, not the equator.
In the Great White North.
Yeah, and so, but tanning, though, I'm going to probably pass on that one.
No, I wasn't saying tan. I said they had other stuff. They're like massage chairs or something.
Massage are good. Now, I'm going to pass on the tan.
Get the natural sun.
Hey, you guys know what today is? We didn't really talk about it.
Miracle.
That's why I'm wearing this really oversized jersey.
I remember I was a student at the University of Michigan.
Wow. 1980, on this day, February 22nd, 1980, was the Miracle on Ice. Al Michaels, Ken Dryden on the call for ABC TV. This game wasn't even televised live here in Detroit or in New York where I was. But this is it. The last minute, Al Michaels counts it down for you.
Losing it out to the point. Slap shot, and it was deflected in from the point. The Soviet Union takes a 1-0 lead to the U.S. Pavlich up ahead to Schneider. Shot goes in. Schneider.
You know the best thing about this game is that when you get older, you realize this was not the finals. This was the semifinals.
Yep.
That's the funniest thing about this game. It took me 5 years ago to realize that this was not the final. It's like watch Miracle on Ice, Kurt Russell again. I have to figure it out.
Mark Johnson, St. Clair Shores. The captain.
That's the jersey you had on, baby. The cap.
Yep. Here it comes. Unbelievable. Still, the greatest sports day in the history of the United States.
Let me ask you guys this question.
No argument for me on that one.
Let me ask you guys this question. Would this have still had the same impact? Obviously, we know that Russia was impossible to beat. Would this have the same impact if they didn't win it all? That's a good question.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know.
I still think it did. I still think it would be.
I think part of it is they came home with that gold medal and that win.
Yeah. Wasn't there a huge age discrepancy between our players and
we
the
had
Soviet
kids.
players? Yeah.
We had kids. They had a professional team. And not only that, before the Olympics, they beat the United States, and I forget the score. Was it 8 or 9-1 at Madison Square Garden?
Oh, really?
9-1.
This was like 1,000,000-to-1 shot. Young kids against the seasoned team. It's like playing the Red Wings against a pickup bunch of kids.
Yeah. It's very similar to
they're very talented.
It's very similar to the Dream Team. It's basically like it was all college kids, and then that's what made the Dream Team so big. Is the first time we had professional basketball players playing abroad. So.
Yeah, that's one of those teams where you never should have to pay for dinner ever again in this country. Hopefully that remained true.
42 years ago, man.
Yeah, that was a while ago.
Do you remember what happened here? You were in college then.
I was.
But what I understood, in Detroit, Bill Bonds goes on at like 5 o'clock. Bill Bonds, the famous anchorman for
Gardner White, baby.
ABC. Yeah. And he goes on, and he's like, well, yeah, the Olympics, and the game had already been over at 5 o'clock in the afternoon. And he goes on the news as he's signing off. He's like, oh, big upset at Lake Placid. The United States beats the Russians. Oh, by the way, the game will be on a tape delay at 8 o'clock.
Right.
So he already ruined the surprise for the poor people here in Detroit. In New York, no one blew the surprise for us. I watched that game like it was live, and I'll never forget it. That's a great, iconic picture that we showed you.
Yeah.
It's that Sports Illustrated cover that I have in my basement. It is the greatest. To me, I don't think there's anything that compares to it.
And for us, we who live here in Hockey Town, we have a better appreciation than most of the country has.
Yep.
If you really think about it, when you think about hockey, hockey and cars, we kind of like own the conversation no matter where we are in the world.
We do, man.
Yep.
Hey, keeping it hockey related. The other night, Michigan beat Ohio State on senior night. This was the scene.
Maybe Michigan's.
Huh? Look at that. It's always great to shut out Ohio State.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
And that's what they did.
On senior day.
They shut them out on senior night.
Little 3-0 action right there. Man, never hurt anybody. Man, it's nothing like watching the game at Yost, man. And Yost has they've gotten a little bit more, what's that term? PC, I think. They got a little more PC in terms of what you can and cannot say in terms of fans.
Oh, really?
That fan chant that we used to do back in the day with all the curse words.
Oh, my God.
Bleep, 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 bleep.
They are very hard
back
on those
in the days
goalies.
of
They don't
Aaron
do it
Ward.
anymore. Just need to say.
They don't do it anymore?
I went to a game in October. I went to a game. They played Michigan State. They beat Michigan State on a Friday and then lost to Michigan State.
No cursing
Saturday.
anymore?
They don't do the chant anymore.
Oh, that's bull.
Because they definitely beat that ass, but they did not do one curse word.
Hey, one more on the hockey side. Look at this, guys. The other night, it's the Avalanche playing the Bruins. There's a kid by the name of Nathan McKinnon, who is a very tough hockey player.
A little
bit on the dirty side sometimes. Look what he does. Run that back again. Look what he does to the linesman. Watch this. He slashes the linesman. Right after the puck drop. Here it goes again. He loses the puck drop. He was not happy that the linesman kind of got in his way.
Right.
I have not heard what is happening if anything is going to happen to Nathan McKinnon. They're spinning it like, oh, it was just an accident.
Yeah.
Does that look like an accident to you?
Yeah, he accidentally took his stick out and swung at the ref.
Isn't that something?
That is something. Look at those guys.
It's weird though. It's like hockey. Like when you see things in hockey, like they're still bad. Like that's a bad play, but you see it. It's kind of like I mean I've seen it before. Like hockey, you've seen things like this before. They don't do it nearly as much, but you still see players like that. They don't jump out at you. When you saw what happened on Sunday, something like that jumps out at you.
Yeah, I'm a person who just really appreciates somebody who is physically just opposing and do something better than others. I never forget this first time I saw Carl Lewis run. I lived in Houston and all like that. To watch a human move that fast was like, wait a minute. It looked like he was on a bike. To watching, I have never seen a human body move that fast before. When I went to my first hockey game, and saw people move like that fast on skates and start and stop. And I was like, oh,
that's
my
different.
God.
That's something.
That stuff is different.
It is. I'm late to the party on that, of course.
Yeah.
But when I saw that, the appreciation just went through the roof.
That's awesome, man. Hey, the XFL, the first time around was on NBC, with The Rock and all.
Oh, man.
This happened just, I don't remember how many years ago this was, but check this little interview out on the sidelines.
Brom, how in the world are you starting this game tonight after taking that hit just 6 days ago?
Well, let me answer that question.
This is 98, 99.
Yeah. Listen.
One, is this or is this not the XFL? Yes, it is. Two, do I or do I not currently have a pulse? Yes, I do. Let's play football.
I don't know what Brom that was. I'm not sure what Brom that was, but that's family of quarterbacks.
I want to say that's the Brom that's at Purdue now.
That might be him.
Was that the coach?
Yeah, that's why I'm trying to think because there's two. I know that.
No, and then favors
there
him
was
too.
There was a Brian. I think that's
Jeff Brom.
Yeah, that is Jeff Brom because
I gotta look that up.
The Brom I played with
Probably
when he was
should
at
have done
Louisville, I was at
Right.
Michigan.
Right.
Is Brian Brom's? You're a little younger than me. I
Sure.
think he's a little
Yeah.
taller too. But no, I think that's Jeff Brom.
That's cool.
I love that. He just basically was like, do I have a post? Let's get this party
It's the
started.
XFL.
He was made for the XFL.
The XFL was a wild league, man. Like when I first saw the very first coin toss, wasn't the coin toss. It was who can get that ball first and roll it.
That was pretty cool.
Until somebody
It ain't gonna happen.
Oh, but then there's like a guy pulled tore his ACL on the second one they ever did, and then it got dirty, and then it was tough, man. But I know I teased a little bit about AB, but let's say that for tomorrow because you can never just cover AB in the span of 2 minutes.
No.
you always
Not this.
you always have to allow for 12 minutes or more to talk about AB because you're not going to want to miss this tomorrow.
And there's a lot more going on, B.
Yeah,
with
there's a
that
lot
Tampa
going
Bay
on in
team.
Tampa, and you're kind of starting to see. Maz might have been right. Tom got his butt out of there because it wasn't going good down there, so he might not be through. He just had to get the hell out of Tampa.
Well, all I know is, and I won't be here, so I'll make my comment on AB now. I'd be highly shocked that it would end well for him.
Do you think he plays again?
I think he does because he's that talented.
Yeah.
I'm just thinking when it's all said and done, when the air comes out of the ball for AB, it will be very soon that he'll be just like
I
a
love that
falling
T-shirt.
chainsaw.
I love that T-shirt,
Oilers,
man.
baby.
Thanks for
There you
staying
go.
with us tonight.
Love your
The
blues.
Oilers. Hey, we appreciate you guys there. We appreciate you stepping in for the whole
Absolutely.
show. Ryan,
Yeah.
we miss you, buddy. But guess what? We're doing what we do because that's the bottom line. Sam, Alex, way to go out of you guys today. Maz, always appreciate you, big guy.
Back at you, man.
Hey, man, you know what? Go ahead.
I feel like that freshman.
You want to end the show?
No,
You end the
I
show.
feel like that freshman football player and just come out of high school, and it's like, wait a minute, we're at 10, 11, 12 games now, and I feel like I done hit the wall. I'm used to being out of here for an hour. I'm
You
like,
made it.
Hey,
man.
when you sneak into that hour and a half spot, now you see why Ryan stands up.
Yeah.
GASSED. All right, we love you guys. We appreciate it. We'll be back tomorrow. We'll be asking for more likes. Smash that like button. I was able to jump into the chat a little bit today. You guys are funny in that chat. I had fun. Hey, we're out. See you tomorrow. Bottom line.